is up, everyone? What is up? Happy Snowmageddon, everyone. Hope not too many of you are snowed in. Yeah. Let's turn this back on. So, yeah. Started doing a little bit of cleaning on the desk again. I at least washed the desk mat, but I ordered a new one because, well, it looks like there's a couple of coffee ring stains on here that just won't get out, but it is what it is. So, I've had this, what, 3-4 years now? Works alright. Although I did have the funny incident earlier where I was drinking my V8 Energy and I knocked it over, which made me make a mess on the mat that I had upstairs, which is why I was like, I may as well wash this one too. I have new ones coming in, and then what I also did was I ordered a few little anime figurines that I'm probably going to throw inside the PC case over there, just for a little bit of fun. One Piece and Motoko from Ghost in the Shell, because that's one of my favorite animes of all time. I haven't really done much on the Homelab since I upgraded the firewall, but I've been monitoring the firewall, and it looks like it's been doing quite a bit of an improvement to the overall network. Like I was saying yesterday, I was seeing an average of 8 to 9 milliseconds less latency across the board, less jitter, which is kind of amazing. And I was looking into it, and yeah, the network interface card that I'm using on this is slightly better than the other. There's still gigabit. It's still gigabit. And that's not going to make much of a difference anyway, because my network connection is nowhere near saturating it. But my WAN connection, there's a totally new upgraded card on there. So I have 2.5 gigabit per second on the WAN side to future-proof it for that. And also gigabit internally. And then there's 10 gigabit connections as well that I can use, and those are directly connected to the Xeon processor, so it'll be interesting when I start upgrading to 10 gigabit. Hopefully throughout this year I will replace the switches. Iridocyclitis? What is that, vampire? Oh yeah, so TikTok was out yesterday. There were power outages, apparently, from what I was told, at their data centers. It was causing havoc, which is why I did not stream yesterday. But you know what? Honestly, not complaining. We had a pretty good time streaming over on the Twitch, Kick, and YouTube side. So, if you're already on the TikTok side, you should probably consider that. And you should be considering following your favorite creators on all their different platforms anyway, because there's been some changes in ownership in the TikTok platform. Not everyone is happy with, and there is, of course, always the likelihood that they may remove whatever creator you actually like for whatever given reason. I think Phil DeFranco said it best, where it's that I don't really like any particular social media platform. It's that I hate ones less than others. Okay, I do like Mastodon because I can own it. I do like, Lemmy and that whole Fediverse because I can own it. Blue Sky is... I got a love-hate relationship with that. I have been diving more and more into using the Flort browser, which is my browser that I've replaced Firefox with. And it's been a pretty good experience, I think, overall. It's everything that I liked about Firefox, none of the things I disliked, and then Zen Browser was another option that was out there, but Zen did not bring me Zen, shall we say. It was just, excuse me, it was just a little bit too much of a diversion, or it was just way too different for me to just jump into. I have my set flows and everything. It's both Firefox. You can use the extensions and everything you want. But I think Florp was an easier thing to just like, hey, we're going to install this, and then I can move over there. So if you see my browser looking a little bit different than you're used to, That's because we're using Florp, and there's a few features in there that I like. One particular was, it's not forcing you in particular to, use not really forcing with Firefox, but it's not really, making you want to install another, or use their LLM in particular, and they're not hell-bent on becoming an AI browser. That's one of the things that was the final straw for me with Mozilla Firefox. So I'm not anti-AI. My issue is, however, when I want to use the AIs that I want to do. I don't want to have AI baked into every fucking product. Looking at you, Microslop. Microslop is just getting worse and worse and worse with all their different approaches on things. I don't really see there being a way out for Microsoft to stop being Microslop, because they've dug themselves this hole. Yeah, it's just a mess. Oh yeah, and Crunchyroll was down earlier today too, so I had to stop watching my One Piece episodes. I'm around 700 or something right now. But yeah. Oh, and apparently there's news that Adobe products are starting to work on Linux. Imagine that. They've actually figured that out. We have some videos, I think, that are going to be covering that today. Hold on. I'm going to get to that section and the review on stream and everything. I definitely need to make a point of trying to do some more streams just so that I can catch up with all this content. Okay, so yeah, okay. It's right over here. We're going to start off with OpenAI is falling apart in real time. This is a video from Tendies. So give me 1 second over here. Why are you opening in a different profile? Okay, we're going to launch that, and then we're going to do that. Okay, you're just being a little bit dumb right now. Alright, hold on. You had a white noise ad? Hey, what's up, Trester? A white noise ad? What's a white noise ad? Oh, I see what I did. Okay. I'm still getting used to the profiles in Florp. So let me just reopen everything that I needed to do over there, and then we're going to get into the YouTube video over there. I just got to open up on the side over here my monitoring for the different platforms I'm simulcast to. It was just rain. Just rain. Like, it was just like, hey, yeah, here's rain. Or was it like, buy this app to, make everything, calm inside your mind? I don't know. What's up, Darko? How's it going? How you been dealing with that snow? Is it like crazy out where you're at in Jersey? Buy the app. Oh, there's a white noise app. That's what it was? Okay. Alright, so let me open my Discord over here. Really? I'm still gonna have to get used to Florp and how it does a few things. So 1 second, let's see if this'll do the thing. Why are you launching like that? It's so weird. Alright, hold on. I'm getting this over here while oh, it doesn't let you transfer tabs? That's such a dick thing. I will say that's one issue that I'm having. Okay. profiles. Oh, so it makes you basically... Oh, that's annoying. No, 6 inches, as I've been told, at 2 inches, not that bad. Really? Okay. Profile. About profiles. Okay. Profile is default. There we go. Okay, yay. That's annoying. So when you make a new profile in Florp, it defaults to that. Good to know. Good to know. I've only used this browser like consistently for about a week or so. Alright, so let me reopen the things, but we're going to be watching this little video on apparently how OpenAI is collapsing. Hopefully it's not AI slop. Also, have you been noticing that when you go to YouTube videos, there's a lot of AI slop? Like, they're just having AI do the video, render it, and it's talking, and then it's like... Because you know AI, if you leave it to its own devices, will mispronounce things, say things that in weird ways, and all of that, and you're just like, what? But yeah. Okay, closing the Yubico authenticator. And settings. Make sure y'all got sound. Nope, gotta wake up the other audio device. It's either 3 or 1. I always forget. Okay, so it's 1.
Front, left.
It's annoying that I gotta do that. And then I flip back to combined, and then...
Front.
We all can hear audio. Yay! Creator problems, huh?
OpenAI is...
Okay, so... Yeah, we'll see how this video is. I'm not familiar with this creator. It came up... I think this is one of the ones that came up on my feed. But yeah, OpenAI is collapsing, as we know. There's many different things going on. Like, they are spending so much money, it's not even funny. They did declare this whole, like, code red thing because Gemini is eating their lunch. Gemini, Anthropic, and I'll even say Quen. I don't know if any of you have really been playing with local AIs much, but I have. And if you look at when my streams go live, I actually have it going through Gemma 3 12B to render my, live announcements, so they're different every time. I've thrown a bunch of LLMs onto my LLM box here, and as you can see... unloads in 292 years. Let's see, Quen is a thinking model. I'm going to show you an example. This is my local machine. So you can see this is actually thinking. That's running on an NVIDIA 5060 Ti, nothing way too fancy. And you can see right now it's doing the thinking. And the prompt that I gave it was, what are 5 creative things I could do with my kids' art? I don't want to throw them away, but it's also so much clutter. So, here are 5 practical ways to preserve your kids' art while reducing clutter, turning their creations into meaningful keepsakes. And this is all happening on my local machine. As you can see, that's a local address in my own network, on my own hardware. So, yeah, I think OpenAI definitely has its days numbered. Because there's exponential costs, and the cost, what is it, what's the term? There's diminishing returns the more money they're spending, because they're not getting as much gains out of it, and I don't think they're going to get to their Gen AI goals. They're now throwing ads in, and the funny thing is Sam Altman himself said putting ads into a product is... a last resort, which means OpenAI is at its last resort. I'm not anti-LLM. I run my own LLM, as we see. I really think where the advantage of LLMs is going to be is not so much in the software as a service model that we currently have, which I don't really see how it's going to be able to really be profitable in the long term, knowing the costs behind it. I think where the advantage is localized LLMs. Businesses running their own LLMs or individuals running their own LLMs. And I don't mean that in the Microsoft way. I mean, you having the choice to run whatever LLM you want and doing, however you want. So, like, I can switch over to DeepSeek Coder over here. Let's give it a brand new chat. Write me a script to interact with Twitch's API in Python and then in Rust. Okay, for some reason it's doing it in Quen. Did not mean to do that. So we're going to have that go over to DeepSeek. I guess when I open a new chat, it goes to Quen by default because I installed that last. So as you can see, it's DeepSeek Coder 6.7b. This is a Python version of it. Okay, I mean, I would have used the Twitch API library over there, clients, all that. And then here's the Rust version. This is where I think the advantage is not so much that as the local version of it running. And then, yeah, anyway, let's see what they got in this video.
OpenAI is falling apart in real time. This post is going to blow your mind. I've watched companies implode for decades. Now, I don't know this person, so we're going to take his word for it.
It's so colorful.
But he is making some very interesting points.
I also am interested in seeing how he makes the little notations on the screen like he does. Anybody knows what app that is? Let me know.
Has all the warning signs. OpenAI declared code red in December. Remember when Gemini dropped and showed far better performance than ChatGPT? Well, that was the
I was using Gemini for my prompts for a while.
Altman sent an internal memo telling employees to drop everything because Google's Gemini 3 is eating their lunch.
That's literally what it said.
Because I also switched to Gemini, even though I never imagined that I would actually be using Gemini. And it makes sense because even Altman himself admitted that Google should have been the #1 when it comes to, large language models, because it's due to their white paper, attention is everything, that we are where we are. But due to the innovator's dilemma, they were making too much money to bother innovating, which is why monopolies are bad. Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff publicly ditched ChatGPT for Gemini after using it for 2 hours.
He also ditched thousands of employees for AI and then realized that was a huge mistake. He actually admitted as much.
Was indeed that dramatic. ChatGPT traffic fell in November. Second month-over-month decline over 2025. I do want to make it clear that ChatGPT is still the undisputed #1, is undisputed king. I mean, lest we forget, okay? We have to, when you're thinking about an enemy, and ChatGPT and these large language models are our enemy for the most part, they deliver a lot of good, but man, anybody popular, anybody who has a lot of followers knows that the spam has increased exponentially.
To be fair, that's because ChatGPT had first mover advantage. I mean, there was no one else really on the market that let you get like a web UI and easily just drop the ability to run an LLM in front of you. Before, you had to have specialized knowledge to be able to run a lot of the stuff. And, ChatGPT it blew up. It blew up. I don't know how relevant this chart is. Time to reach 100 million users. That just shows the growth of an app, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's, it has staying power.
Tell who is real and who is fake. But the time to reach 100 million users, look how crazy it was. Okay, this is months to get to 100 million global monthly active users. 2 months. Okay, ChatGPT was absolutely insane, something that we've never seen before. I mean, if you look here, stylized path to 1 million users. Okay, so within 5 days, it reached one. It's just an arrow straight up. right? It's absolute insanity. Because I mean, when you think about it, it has built on. So first was the internet layer, then the social media layer. So something like ChatGPT obviously takes over in one shot because everybody already has the internet and everybody already has social media, so they can share the link to ChatGPT.
And Instagram was a little bit older.
In the early days, some people were even saying it's fake. There's someone behind the computer. They couldn't believe it, right? Lest we forget.
They were having ChatGPT sign up to be more ChatGPT
So
users to show that ChatGPT was growing.
Million monthly active users. You know, ChatGPT is in the billions, if I'm not mistaken. So this is actually quite an embarrassing number, right? So Google definitely underperformed, but they caught up, right? One of the founders of Google even came back to make sure that they dominate again in AI, and they're very much on track to do so. The company that was supposed to build AGI can't keep its chatbot competitive because competition has arrived, and it is utterly and completely ruthless. But
not only that, like, have you noticed that ChatGPT is just kind of degraded in quality? Like, it peaked around ChatGPT 4.0, I would say. And then ChatGPT 5 came around, and I just didn't care for it. Didn't feel like it was as good. Now, a lot of people were like, well, you know, it feels cold, and, you know, it's not, you know, really having a personality anymore. I didn't give a crap about that. Just give me the information and F off. Glad I got you on your feed. Ever since the policy changes, it messed up my feed. Well, that's why you should be following me on all of my socials. Because TikTok was down yesterday, but I was still streaming on all 3 other platforms. So, yeah, make sure if you haven't already. Check the links in bio if you're over on the TikTok side or any other platform. Make sure you're following me, as well as following all of your other creators on all the platforms that they're on. I primarily make YouTube videos these days, and then do LLMs. As I'm finding myself using other services until I get my own LLMs, my LLM server up too. Yeah, when you do, use the Franken LLM in my GitHub repository. It sets it up pretty easily for you, and it even allows you to do mismatched GPUs. So the way I have it going in my system is I'm technically running 2 Olama instances. So anything of the smaller variety of LLMs, like this Llama 3.2B, the Gemma 3.4B, the Phi 3 Mini, these are running on my NVIDIA 3050. Anything that's slightly larger and needs more VRAM, like most of the other ones on here, those are running on my 5060 Ti. So, yeah, see what you did there. Will do. Yeah, shameless plug. I've been waiting for you to show up. Well, I'm here. If you follow me on all my other socials, I'm there too.
The real story is the money. OpenAI lost $12 billion in a single quarter, according to Microsoft's own fiscal disclosure. And keep in mind, obviously, OpenAI is a private company, so we don't have access to these numbers. But according to their own estimates, right? If I'm not mistaken, this is taken from their own estimates. So OpenAI plans to spend $450 billion.
So when is Owncast? So I actually will give you a definitive answer on that. It looks like Spectrum is going to be having high split around end of year next year. When high split comes around, which means symmetrical bandwidth. So if I have a gigabit connection now, I'd be getting gigabit upload as well. Then I will do it. Because right now, I am right at the edge of my upload, my measly 35 megabits with overhead considering, because you want to give 20% for TCP overhead, or is it UDP? I don't know. But you still want overhead for TCP, UDP, you know, going through in fluctuations. Because I have Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and TikTok all at the same time. So when that happens, then I will be doing that. I will be adding Owncast into the repertoire. And before then, I will be setting up an MITx server. I think that's what it's called. I have to check my notes. That's where I'm going to have my own relay. I'm going to use one of my Raspberry Pis to do a relay. So this stream box over here will only be putting out 2 streams, the vertical stream and the, you know, horizontal streams. So that way the 3 other platforms go out to one other. And then I can also set up a continuous loop that if the stream box ever has an issue, which has happened, it will then go, you know, be right back screen immediately so we don't kill the stream. And then I'm going to work on a kill switch basically on my machine. So I'm not continuously on 24/7. Any thoughts on CES? Not really. I mean, I didn't really see anything that was worthwhile talking about too much that we haven't already talked about on stream. Like how Nvidia and AMD are just focusing way too much on AI, and maybe next year if things line up, I probably will be going out to CES to do content and maybe live stream there. I don't know which platform I will be live streaming to. It may be YouTube, it may be Twitch. Not as likely to be TikTok. I'm sorry. Been following you for a while on the old clock app. Just wanted to make sure I was following you here as well. Well, I appreciate it, Lobo13. Happy hacking, buddy.
Service through 2030, including 100 billion in backup server, it says are monetizable. So, look at this. They're planning on spending a whole bunch of money. So, according to them, this is, going to exponentially grow and then settle somewhere around the 100 billion mark.
I don't know what happened there.
How much money cumulatively? We're talking almost $500 billion. Okay, absolute insanity for a freaking chat bot. Think about that for a second. And then this is probably also an underestimation, not taking into account incredible intensified competition, or a move to a better thing, right? Right now we're using large language model, which is
it's like video render bad because it's like cutting out.
Term of AI.
That's not my network.
We might have new algorithms, so they might have to switch up their whole stack and spend a whole bunch of money to catch up. This is all best case scenario. Nobody knows about the future. So in their so-called best case scenario, which I would assume they're projecting the best case scenario, this is what they're going to be spending.
And the interesting thing is they break it down to inference compute. So inference is literally what we were doing here. That's inference, where you're having the GPU go through training data already and then go through all of that. The R&D, they're looking to blow that R&D budget up immensely. What's this? The monetizable compute, I think, is what they said they're going to be renting out, which is kind of weird. Don't see that they can do buffers for half a second. Thanks, Twitch. Well, I dropped like 69 frames. That was it. So that's all we've got so far. So not too bad. The new firewall, I think, is doing a good job of leveling out things. But yesterday was perfect. I think with TikTok, I'm just pushing it right up against the edge. But yeah, this monetizable compute, that's really interesting that they're going with that route. I don't see how OpenAI is going to really be profitable in the long run. And to give you an idea, so we talked yesterday about the inference compute. A lot of that is going to be power costs. And we talked about the Furiosa, the Furiosa inference card. The new one that's coming out that's actually able to do equal to an NVIDIA H100, is it SMX, SPX, at 1/2 the power, which I think is one of the more important things because everyone's glossing over the fact that AI data centers are driving up power costs everywhere, and they're hoarding hardware because they can't run it. You just bought a couple of mini PCs. I like mini PCs. Nice cost-effective way to do some tinkering. This will be my Docker server once I get that set up. I have my little logging server over here on this little guy. But yeah. All right, let's see.
And what they're actually going to be spending if they get access to this type of money. Deutsche Bank estimate 143 billion in cumulative negative cash flow before the company turns.
Good God, that is astronomical.
Profitable. So it's just absolutely atrocious. This assumes they will be profitable, and they got a lot of companies coming in, and even AIs that are not really competitive right now. For example, XAI, if it becomes competitive in the future, and it might because it has a lot of
make it into a gaming rig for stream?
Hardware advantage.
Depends,
if
Steam.
it's able to
for
monetize
Steam,
that properly, just the amount of competition looks to be increasing in the future.
So as long as you have a decent GPU in your little mini PC, I don't see why not. Now, the question is, how high quality of gaming do you want? That's what it comes down to. Now, some of those AMD APUs can actually do quite well. I remember my old Ryzen 5700U laptop, which I still use with Parrot OS. that can do Borderlands 3 and quite a few other games quite well.
Decreasing. Their analysts put it bluntly, no startup in history has operated with losses on anything approaching this scale. But again,
really
they were able to show all these losses.
I see those GMK techs are pretty
imagine
nice.
You show investors, look, within a few days we had this many million users. Obviously, investors are going to give you a whole bunch of money, and that's what happened. And they pretty much over-invested, overestimated, didn't understand that this was an initial push, but then it was going to plateau. They didn't consider that. They're burning 50
just enough to run Borderlands 4. That's a whole other thing. Because if you remember, I had to upgrade from a 3070 to a 5070 Ti just to be able to do Borderlands 4 at a reasonable FPS. It's ridiculous. That game is unoptimized to hell.
Model and $5 billion annually to generate copyright infringement memes, but these are just estimations and they're a private company. I don't think we have actually access to this information. Even Sora's lead engineer admitted the economics are currently completely unsustainable, and it's true. They're pretty much subsidizing this stuff, and this is why AI is able to kill so many jobs, right? I know a lot of people like to say they haven't killed jobs. They have already killed jobs. Just maybe not your sector. Accountants are probably fine. We can't have hallucinating accounting, and same goes for lawyers.
We can't have accountants on acid.
Art and
that would be bad. It'd be fun, but it'd be bad.
Hallucinations are kind of nice actually to have sometimes when it comes to art. These are all decimated, right? So you and I, if you want to create,
I'm about to do my best to rip windows off the katana I have.
Well, now ChatGPT will do it for $0.
Linux on it, probably bad as I can.
Subsidizing this stuff.
Let us know how it goes.
Subsidizing, and this subsidization is decimating all the jobs. Here's the big math problem nobody wants to discuss. It's going to cost 5x the energy and money to make these models 2x better. Indeed, diminishing return is what he's talking about.
That's what I was talking about earlier too.
Outrageous thing, right? The crazy thing is that it is getting a record number of users. AI platform ChatGPT hits record 5.8 billion monthly website visits in August of 2025. And this is what keeps it going, right? But in reality,
but how many unique users?
Oracle is trying to build this Stargate thing. And, Oracle is taking on all this debt. Look at this. Net debt is just going insane because of the real need of real infrastructure. The spending is, as they compete against one another, just keeps escalating with no sight as to how they're going to return a profit, right? And all these estimates about
when AI creators, it's going to hurt so many industries.
Don't take all these banks and analysts serious. They don't know the future, okay?
Yeah, they really don't.
It's just a guesstimate. And
if you want to if you want an example of how banks and analysts don't really know the future, housing crisis of 2008, 2009. Yeah. They never thought subprime mortgages were going to blow up in their face. I'm just so sick of AI slop continually forcing its way into the OS and having to do everything to shut it off each and every time I want to do anything on it. Yeah, I agree. And that's the big reason why I also moved from Firefox. It's nowhere near the level of AI slop that Microsoft is, but I don't like the idea of AI being baked into every product. If I want to have AI in a product, I'm going to choose to have AI in a product. 2008 thing? Yeah, but I remember those days. Yeah. And I have a feeling, again, this is just my feeling, that the AI crater is going to be worse than the housing recession, because there's going to be a ripple effect that, banks are not going to be able to recoup on their money, and that's going to cause a hit to people's, like, we saw banks, like, what was it, the run on the Silicon Valley Bank, stuff like that. Yeah, it's not going to be fun. Back in my day when you bought a program, you actually owned it. Yep. Them's the days.
How are you going to make, look at this. This is net debt and earnings. How are you going to make, you're telling me the revenues are going to go like this, the earnings? Come on, man. That's not the case, right? It's definitely not going to meet this when you consider what they're building. They're building hardware based on GPUs, which are upgraded all the time. So they're buying hardware which is upgraded all the time, and the stock that you bought in the past is depreciating constantly.
Not only that, they're putting orders for RAM 2 years out.
Mentioned by one of the executives at OpenAI, the low-hanging fruit who left, right? Ilya. So it's everybody agrees. It's pretty much gone. The old data was great. The new data is all infected with this LLM-generated nonsense. So it's kind of feeding into itself, and so
I heard BYD, the Chinese electric car company, is overtaking Tesla. Good time to invest. I think it was a good time to invest a while ago in BYD. I didn't, but I've always liked BYD. I wish they would come to America because I am actually looking at my next car in a year or two. Not like I'm urgently going out and getting it. I want it to be an EV, but I don't want it to be a Tesla. And before you're like, what, you just don't like Elon? That is actually less to do with it than I've been in so many Teslas, and the whole assisted driving and everything just operates like shit compared to the other systems I've seen. It's not worth it. I have been in so many near-death incidents inside of a Tesla. It is not even funny. And the funny thing is, Tesla owners always have this biggest amount of copium because they're like, oh yeah, it was a glitch in the software. They fixed it in an update. And then like another near-death experience happens. I've seen the car literally make a hard left into a parking lot, almost into a car. I've seen it almost run into a barrier. I've seen it like shake the car, like the wheel is going back and forth rapidly while we're going straight because it couldn't make up its mind. I've seen it literally all of a sudden just pull to the left and again to the right another time into traffic, one of those being oncoming. And you can blind a Tesla really easily because they're all optically focused. They don't have any other sensors. So if it can't see on the camera from like a glare at just the right angle, no, just no. Oh, all of this AI stuff is an entire bubble floating through the air above a veritable sea of cactus-shaped problems. Yep. They're buying RAM that doesn't exist with money that doesn't exist for data centers that don't exist. Yeah, and Micron will come back crawling to the consumer market sooner or later. They will.
It's just the old way of doing things is gone. I'm not saying there's not going to be any
using
new
water that we can't spare and land that we haven't bought and supplies that haven't been made. Yep.
Edge. Think about Tesla. They gather real world video.
Oh look, we just talked about Tesla.
Such as Google. Think about companies such as XAI. But the best companies are the ones who are generating real world data. The robots that are going to come in, they're projected to come in, the humanoid robots, and all these were probably going to be the real
like edge. What, Boston Dynamics, Waymo.
Going to be tough because of all the polluted stuff because of LLMs. Every incremental improvement now requires exponentially more compute, more data centers.
I live in a desert with finite amounts of surplus water.
Large training.
That's the thing that blows my mind about these LLMs is like they're putting it in like Texas and stuff like that. At least where I live in the Midwest, you have reasonable amounts of water and resources and a decent climate. But yeah, I don't get it.
Produce models better than prior versions, right? Remember when they launched the ChatGPT 5 and it was not received well, okay? It was very bad. They had to...
Wasn't this just what I said?
ChatGPT.
I felt like GPT 4.0 was kind of where OpenAI peaked and ChatGPT 5 was just kind of underwhelming. It was more of a knee-jerk because they were afraid of Gemini.
This has specific reasons. They didn't understand their user base properly, so when they were fine-tuning it, they fine-tuned it, I believe, specifically for the Indian use case, how Indians like to use it, and that's, I guess, a big part of their user base, but they ignored everybody else, and that was a big mistake.
They forced our water controller to be fired by our governor just to obfuscate how much it is going to hurt the residents. Well, of course.
When you think about CEOs, Altman, all these CEOs, they're just salespeople, right? The primary job of a CEO is to sell your product and service. And so that's what he was doing, pretty much.
Trying to sell you out.
It was worse at a basic math and geography. I mean, it just was underwhelming, right? They released GPT 5.1, 5.2. I do have to say that ChatGPT is still king, okay? I want that to be clear. But it
may be king in terms of users, but in terms of usability for the LLM, it is crap. Now, I do use it still for some proofreading of writing and everything, but honestly, I've been so freaking impressed with Quen. And like we just saw DeepSeek Coder. I'm moving more and more to my local stuff. Once I get my Zero Trust Network access, I'll be leaning more on that. I am looking at exporting my data from ChatGPT, then extracting my YouTube scripts and stuff that I've written through that. And then training my own RAG so that I can have my LLM use that data indexed and then possibly hook that in to maybe Gemini running through my machine if I ever want to. Northern part of Nevada, 400 plus miles north of Vegas. Vegas has their own problems with water since almost all of the usable water comes from the Colorado River, which has been overtaxed with the increasing use upstream from places like Phoenix. Yeah, and the problem is we have not actually been forward thinking about water usage for many years, even before this data center problem with AI. It's been a problem even before then. So it's very short-sighted. Vegas is living on borrowed time as a result of AI data centers siphoning that river because it's in the middle of a desert. If it wasn't for them getting water piped in from the other rivers, they'd be screwed. It kind of amazes you when you go to Vegas and you put into perspective how much water is around you and how little water is actually available there naturally. The reason they want to put data centers here is because basically sitting on the primary interstate fiber line bundle, the one that buried alongside Interstate 80 and is 6 feet in diameter. Jeez. But I think that's short-sighted as well because, again, resource limitation. Power grid and water. You may have a lot of land, you may have fiber access, but the other two are very costly. Oh, yeah, and I think there was somebody that actually said that Elon Musk's data centers may be illegal because they're doing methane turbines, which are heavily bad to the residents around you. I think it was Indiana or one of them. Somebody flew a drone over and saw they were using those. What's up, Hans? So yeah, it's a matter of time. Of course, in this current administration, the EPA has said they're not okay, but this administration doesn't care about them. But I'm curious to see if the next one will. But yeah.
Sustainable king is what I'm trying to say. And Elon Musk is suing ChatGPT, and in my opinion, this is the biggest headwind out of all of it, because Elon Musk seems hell-bent on destroying this company because he feels slighted. He feels like he should get a piece of it because he funded this thing, but he didn't. And, you know, due to all kinds of reasons,
Elon Musk funded it, but he didn't, is like the epitome of pretty much Elon Musk's history. Because he didn't found Tesla. He sued to become a founder. And things like that. You thinking about Grok AI diesel generator powered? I think it's methane powered, not diesel powered. That's what I was researching earlier. I just did a quick like 10-15 minute dive into it. I didn't get too deep into it. Oh, we have a couple that use passive air cooling. In the desert? Can't really do that with AI ones unless it is completely closed-loop cooling system, which is infinitely more expensive. Not to mention, like, you know, you can only cool a system so well with passive air in the desert. Yeah, that's...
appears to be very committed to destroying this company. And so that's very bad because Elon Musk is not known to be someone who gives up. So this is terrible news for them. And so what am I expecting here? I expected
we know he doesn't give up. He apparently doesn't pull out either.
Okay. And the distinguishing factor is actually quite simple. The winners are profitable. Okay. These guys make a profit. Think about Google. Think about Microsoft. Think about XAI, I think they are making a profit too. All these guys are profitable, and
I wouldn't say XAI is profitable.
They understand AI, they understand the area.
Elon's basically had to shuffle around money from his portfolio to make it look like he had money. Like he sold, I think, X to XAI to, you know, do that. Like it's a whole like shifting of paper kind of game. Smoke and mirrors. Seen the images of the smoke coming out of the Grok AI data centers? That's what it's talking about. Allegedly, from people that have flown drones over it, it is running methane turbines, which are illegal because of the crap they put out into the air. They and if you look at the area that the data center is in, apparently asthma rates have increased and things like that that are usually tied to methane turbines. Even our power here runs on a closed-loop cooling system. Reno runs on geothermal. We have two main power plants that power the entire metro area of 538,000 people. Oh, and one small one that runs a casino. Huh.
And so when these guys are no longer able to fund, so there are no funding rounds, okay? The funding rounds are being closed. When you start hearing that, oh, they raised less than expected, they raised at lower valuation than expected, etc. At that point, these guys will come to eat these losers for lunch, right? So what you'll see is probably things such as the buying of IP, okay? So the intellectual property might be bought. Employees, right, maybe convinced to join, because if you know your company only has a couple of months worth of payroll left, you're probably not going to stay with this company. And so that's one of the things. So I think this is going to happen in the long run. So I do not think ChatGPT is going to go to zero. It's just going to be bought out, because for a lot of boomers and a lot of people that are not, enthusiastic, they're just regular users, to them, OpenAI is AI. There's nothing else. It's like kind of like Googling. There are other search engines.
Yeah, it's that whole AI, it's that whole first mover advantage issue.
Goes for OpenAI. And so that's the reality. And I think the biggest caveat out of all of this is a bailout, which is, in my opinion, very likely. I showed you.
I swear to God, we better not bail them out. And if we do, I am going to be naming and shaming every congressperson that approves that bill. And I am going to just, scream it from the rooftops, because these are the people that sold out the American future. I didn't agree with the auto bailouts. I don't agree with all of the, the Wall Street bailouts. I've had the saying for many years, bail out Main Street, not Wall Street. Oh, the rich lose a little bit of money. Well, guess what? That's capitalism. That's the risk there, baby. You accepted the risk. Oh, you lost your money? Here's the smallest violin in the world for you. But we should be worrying about a safety net for Main Street, because the average person is definitely going to be impacted by that. What is Congress doing? Well, we're talking about the potentiality of a bailout for ChatGPT, which is very likely to happen because there's, not enough money to be made in this for the expenses that they're having.
This chart, right? This is for Oracle. And Oracle, the CEO, the owner of Oracle, I believe he's the largest share owner. He is one of the richest people on the planet, and he obviously has the ear of the president.
Money to lose and accept the risk that they might lose it. The majority of people don't have enough to survive, bail the U.S. out. Yeah.
Between the U.S., right, the USA versus China. And they're both subsidizing AI because they believe that whoever wins this race wins entirely. Because throughout history, obviously, whoever had guns was winning, and that was the latest technology. Then it became nuclear weapons, and so now they're thinking it's AI. So the USA may bail out all these guys, right? In the end, they may win because they get bailed out. Although it won't be popular, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump does it, because he's surrounded by all these, very top, high-level people, and they couldn't care less about you and me, the pleb. So
yep,
with all
basically what I was saying.
Though I do think the signs are clear, this is just unsustainable. And with all the volatility now, with the USA attacking all of its allies, Europe specifically, talking about Greenland, all the markets, the debt markets are going up. The yield is going up, meaning that fewer and fewer people are willing to borrow money to countries. So let alone companies.
Are they going broke? Yeah,
risky bet.
There's
just more volatility. So there's a
closer to getting broke every day.
They're all rising, right? So gold and all these things are rising because everyone is moving to safety. So they're not going to bet.
Yeah, like silver has gone through the roof. Silver historically, through the time I've been buying it, was like $20 to $30. It's now close to $100 last I checked. Let me double check that. JM Bullion. Give me a sec. We're gonna check out the gold silver index stuff here. Silver's crossed $100. What the fuck? That's not good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's good for people that invested, but that's not good overall. And then gold is up to $5,000. Like, let's just look at the chart here. Okay, so this is going back to 1996. So, 95. 95 was $376. And I remember it got up to like $1,600 or so, and we were worried about it. It's never really gone back down. So, like, it maybe load at about $1,000 December 2015, and then Trump gets elected, you know, it gets a little bit, you know, tumultuous there for a while, and then COVID hits, and then it starts going up a little bit more, and then, let's see, starts going up, and then just through the moon. I bought the 1 ounce silver coin in my wallet for $12 in 2009. This is insane. Yeah, it is insane. Like, to give you an idea, I have these 2 silver coins that I use as little fidget toys, okay? These 2 ounces of silver. I was like, yeah, it's like, you know, $30 I was playing with when I bought these. These 2 coins are like over $200 right now. That's insane. Just a little thing, you know, to play with. That is insane. Bang, zoom, straight to the moon. I know what that reference is from. I can't remember the show, but yeah. I keep mine as fee to the ferryman. Yeah, we'll probably need to be going down the river Styxel eventually.
These highly speculative AI bets. So the USA is kind of decimating
TikTok app for good, just waiting for my to delete.
Volatility,
okay.
But it could also...
Unfortunately, I can't really do that because it is, you know, still my biggest audience. But I am trying to draw more people to other platforms. And when I get my high split for my symmetrical bandwidth towards the end of the year, early next year, then I'll be doing Owncast and other things. Are you on Upscrolled? No. I'm kind of tired of new apps, and it's kind of hard to believe that any other app will really take over. Like, don't get me wrong. I know people are deleting the app. They have the reasons for deleting the app, but I don't know if there's going to be any app that overtakes TikTok and their audience. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest with you. As a content creator, it's hard to justify another platform if I can't really monetize it. Now, this is the guy that's paying their own money for Mastodon and moving to a Blue Sky PDS server and all of that. Red Note has a chance, maybe, but the monetization is a big question there. At some point, application rotation will become the norm if the censorship continues. The applications will be deleted until morale improves.
It out. So it's really... what I'm trying to say is 50% chance, okay? Either or, you know, if it gets a bailout and everything is fine, that would be obvious in hindsight. But if it collapses, that would also have been obvious in hindsight. So I would put it the chance of this thing collapsing, the bubble popping at 50-50. Now, although I am very happy...
I'd say 75-25.
AI is collapsing.
That's my odds.
It's a temporary collapse, and eventually AI will come back, right? This is just one of the many cycles, one of the many AI cycles. It has experienced many in the past, and this is just one of them again, except this time it was ridiculous. We're dealing with trillions, and so it has escalated considerably. So I do think AI, there's a future. Obviously, all of us are using AI, whether we like it or not. So there is a future, there is some value there, but we just overestimate it. So...
yeah, I mean, yeah, we definitely are overestimating it. So, HBX had a article over here. They shared also going on this. AI will pop hard mainly because it will never be what they advertise it to be. Absolutely, I agree with that. Like I was saying before you came on here, I think the future is actually localized AI, and I don't mean in the sense of Microsoft's bullshit agentic ways. I mean as in us actually having our own solutions there that we can, you know, run our own models and everything. So like if you look before you came on, I was using DeepSeek Coder and I was like, write me a script to interact with Twitch's API in Python and then in Rust, and here it is in Python and then there it is in Rust. Or, you know, I can, what I did earlier was I used it for the random question of what are 5 creative things I could do with my kids' art I don't want them to throw away, but it's also so much clutter, using Quen 3.14b. Quen is, by the way, the LLM that Alibaba has trained, and this is an open source LLM that you can install. Thought you mentioned Copilot AI for a second. No, I don't like Microsoft Copilot. I do use GitHub Copilot, but that's primarily using, you Claude over here. So you can see I'm using like Claude Opus. I'll flip between Claude Opus and Claude Sonnet 4.5 for most of my stuff. I have all these other LLMs, but I primarily use Opus and Sonnet. And then I also use Gemma for a lot of my things too. But yeah. So, alright. Apparently the Trump administration is providing weapons-grade plutonium to Sam Altman. If there were adults in the room and I could trust the federal government to impose the right standards, it wouldn't be such a great concern, but it just doesn't seem feasible. Why do you need to give weapons-grade plutonium for energy production? This makes no sense. Now, I'm by no means not a nuclear physicist or, an expert on nuclear energy, but I think I know enough to know there's different kinds of plutonium, uranium, and all of this to be able to do nuclear fission for a plant that don't need to be weapons grade. It's for the DeLorean. Yep. 1.21 gigawatts! Did you hear Microsoft is giving the keys to the FBI, specifically BitLocker? That's not news. That's not news. They've been doing that for years. So here's the reality of what happens with Microsoft. This has been happening before Trump was even in office. By default, Windows, when you set up BitLocker, will upload those keys to your Microsoft account that you've tied it to. Okay? You can disable that. I've done that on this machine over here. But that is a default behavior most people are not aware of. And they're not aware of that they can grab these BitLocker keys and stuff from their account. Now, there is, the argument they have is, well, if you lock yourself out of your computer, you can just grab those keys. And I'm like, well, you could have just written down the freaking key when, you set it up in the first place like it tells you to do, and then don't worry about it being out in the cloud. So by virtue of doing that, Microsoft has always had access to your BitLocker keys. And at that point, any law enforcement authority can then issue a subpoena to request said keys for said Windows devices. So it's not really, Microsoft is just bowing down to Trump. It's Microsoft has set up the system, and now the Trump administration is taking advantage of this system. That makes sense? Just use VeraCrypt. Yeah. I mean, I use VeraCrypt. It's not on my dashboard here. Should be. There we go. See? I use VeraCrypt. I just don't use it that often because I only have a couple of things I need to secure that hard. Highly enriched U is used for small-scale reactors, but also warheads. Okay. Still weird to be giving weapons-grade shit like that. Thorium was promising, but was abandoned mid-research for weapons production potential of plutonium and uranium reactors. Yeah, but I know China is doing thorium reactors. We were talking about that in, I don't think it was last stream, but the stream before that. VeraCrypt encrypt the boot drive for Windows and before the bootloader. I know VeraCrypt allowed you, well, TrueCrypt back in the day, let you encrypt the Windows XP drive. I don't know if you can still do that for your main disk, but you can use VeraCrypt to encrypt an entire disk potentially. But I don't use Windows for a lot of that stuff. The machine that has BitLocker really doesn't really have anything important. I use Lux encryption, which is built into Linux. So when I turn on this computer, I have to enter a password before my computer will even boot up, and then let me enter another password into my user account. But I by default encrypt almost all of my machines. But anyway, yeah, so Donald Trump certainly thinks so since his return to the White House. The president has labeled 440 properties for sale, blah, 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 blah. Yep, so basically Sam Altman is getting his hands on weapons-grade plutonium. On Tuesday, the U.S. Department of Energy launched an application for interested parties to apply for access to a maximum of 19 metric tons, a little under 42,000 pounds, of weapons-grade plutonium, which has long been a key resource undergirding the U.S. nuclear arsenal. I don't know how comfortable I feel about that. Not from the aspect of like, oh, nuclear energy is bad. I'm a proponent of nuclear energy. I think it's one of the cleanest sources of energy, and a lot of the issues that have been surrounding it have to do with safety protocols and mechanisms not properly enforced, or, you know, like you have the Chernobyl, the 3 Mile Island, and then Fukushima. That's more that, you know, safety standards were not observed. The president is an idiot. Yeah, well, what else is new? I mean, does the bear shit in the woods? Kind of been out of the loop of the perspective, beyond U.S. perspectives lately. Yeah, that's why I try to look outside the USA, because there's a lot of cool shit happening around the world. Been using Linux on my business laptop for the last couple years. I want to put Linux on my main rig, but the few games I play cannot use Linux. World of Warcraft, is there any workarounds right now? I don't play World of Warcraft, but I've heard quite a few people have been using Linux for years with World of Warcraft. You'll have to look into that, but people can do that. But the other argument I would actually make is, if you really want to make a stand and, you know, give Microsoft the finger and actually, you know, have a little backbone, then you're going to have to accept that you can find alternatives for you to have your time. Like, I've got a Steam library over here. I'll open up my little Steam account here, and you can see I have several hundred games, and pretty much all of them work on Linux. I think one of the only ones that I have issues with is Apex Legends, because they enable the kernel level anti-cheat that doesn't work. Fuck you, EA. So hold up, close that library, and you can see I have a lot of games over here. And these all pretty much have worked on Linux without much issue. So I would definitely look into seeing the World of Warcraft. People have been making it work on Linux. I've talked to people that played it on Linux, not recently, but I know it has been doable at some point, and see what those answers are. But also be prepared to say, you're going to have to tell the developer to go shove it until they actually have Linux support. And I know some people are like, oh, of course, you know, you'd give that opinion. Well, if Microsoft keeps doing the things that they've always done and then expects you to just take it up the ass, then they're going to keep giving it up the ass because you're going to keep taking it up the ass. That's all I can really say about it. I think it's high time for people to just basically say, F you, Microsoft, your problem is so bad, I'd rather go without a couple of games, worst case scenario. I've been saying that for years. And I think a lot of people are starting to come to that conclusion as well. I'm at the point right now, which as much as I would like to play some games, I'm like, you know what? Fuck that. I don't even dual boot Windows for gaming or anything like that. WoW works perfect on Linux bottles and Lutris, no problems. Okay, there you go. Winded Dragon just said that it works just fine. So yeah. There you go, there's your answer. I'm not a World of Warcraft player, so I unfortunately can't help you. I know I look like a World of Warcraft character, but, World of Warcraft player, but, I hate to break it to you. I do this thing, it's called touch grass a little bit too much to be eligible for that. I played World of Warcraft, I think, once in middle school and high school for like a couple of months, and the problem was, it's such a dedicated time sink, I just never could get into it. No offense to anyone that likes it, but seriously, there's a meme about it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Micro Yeet. Sometimes I cry thinking about how the world would be perfect without Mr. Newell and Proton. Sometimes I cry about how the world would be without... Yeah. Curse also has an app image for add-ons. Interesting. Black Desert Online Mogs World of Warcraft. Huh. You're right, I honestly thought about just quitting the games I can't get to work on Linux. I don't want to switch to Windows 11. I don't trust the AI slop that Microsoft is forcing on its users. Yeah, like I have Windows 11 on this machine over here, the Streambox, but that's Windows 11 Enterprise, and I have to make a whole bunch of group policies to prevent a lot of the different things that it's supposed to do. And then on my firewall, I have it blocking like Bing and other things. because if you do a Windows update, that crap may come back. All right, let's see. Back to gyms in January, the video game. All right, what's this about? Hell, you killed that which has no life. Yeah, they're a lich at that point.
Ah, bollocks. Time to get in shape again.
Hey man, hey, fancy a really long gym tour?
No thanks. I can find my own.
Welcome to your gym tour. We're not just a gym, we're a clinic. See you in the pain cave.
That'll do. Right, let's warm up.
For God's sake, can you move? You're in the back of my video.
Of
People,
course,
I'd
I'll
snap
watch
the
it with you. Oh, you
tripod.
seem really
I'd
like
snap
it.
the tripod.
Forward back that people.
Help! Someone, can you help me? I got stuck doing cross rocks.
What the hell?
Donne è arrivato l'Arrotino.
I don't understand.
Spacca tutto adesso. Ciao.
Bloody French people.
I don't feel so
Bloody
good.
French people as he
You look
speaks
strong.
Italian.
Would you mind spotting me?
Let me check my calendar. Yes, please.
Help! I need help.
Oh no.
Sharded should have had breakfast. Okay, since I heard you shout it from the kitchen whilst making foods, did you know there is a reason why the DeLorean had to be going exactly 88 miles an hour while using 1.21 gigawatts? I thought it's because the DeLorean at most could max out at 90 miles per hour. Or somewhere around there. It was like a running joke with that. With the amount of power it generated, it would create a stable window that was 2 millimeters longer than the actual DeLorean was. Not sure about that, but okay. Alright, so remember that Reddit moderator that we talked about on stream a while ago? So he had another video to Moist Critical's video. This is the Reddit mod that, like, this dude right here, that, if I were to go to Sora and say, generate a video of the most stereotypical Reddit moderator that you can think of having a meltdown about losing their Reddit moderator position, this could not have been a better, depiction of this guy. And once again, if you look at the comment section, like, he's only got 458 likes, but roughly 2,000 comments. Yeah. Make the next video without a green screen. I want to see the Reddit mod dungeon. The fact bro kept the comments on as commendable in his twisted sort of way. Irony when mods usually remove it. And then he pressed post again. I like the comments in some of these. Companies should maximize its success. Brother, it's Reddit. All right, let's watch what this video is.
Thank you for watching my video, Charlie. I enjoyed making it. Almost as much as I enjoyed making this one. In this video.
That stare just felt like, I'm not trying to be absolutely rude here, but that felt like a psychopath kind of staring it down like red rum. Red rum. Red rum. I adore Charlie sometimes. This is one of those times. Oh, yeah, I like Moist Critical. I've watched him for years. Not like a religious following of, his stuff, but like when he pops up, I'll watch his videos because I like the way he breaks things down. The like to dislike ratio on this video is amazing. Well, I don't know really how you see the dislikes because they took that down, but I guess you could see based on how many views there are. So let's see. Can we see how many views? I don't know. As a YouTube content creator, I'm not that great at actually doing YouTube analytics. The extension. Oh, what? I'll have to look that up.
I will be clarifying some of my previous points, as well as responding to some very valid points that Moist Critical brought up.
It was your mistake, buddy. Fucking Spez wasn't behind you massaging your
Hey,
shoulders
Jessica,
as
yes, you did.
Signed the deal with
You can install a Chrome extension. I'm on Florp. We use Firefox around these parts.
$10 fan show, which
I moved too quickly. I didn't verify enough stuff. I didn't take responsibility that I should have as the top moderator of a major subreddit.
A miracle has happened. Hallelujah! A Reddit mod has taken responsibility. Hell has frozen over. Pigs are flying. Yeah, Florp. Floorp. That's Foxtrot, Lima, Oscar, Romeo, Papa.
This was my fault. And because of that, I got in a way that was probably justified in retrospect. But that's from my perspective. What about from the company's perspective? A company should be responsible for every aspect of its business. A company should take actions to maximize its success and minimize its failures. And playing the blame game for that doesn't work. It doesn't matter that it's my fault because the company still suffers the negative consequences anyway. They suffer the reputational damage, they suffer some of the liability, they suffer the harm to its users. Most of the bad things that come about.
Buddy, it's fucking Reddit. It ain't that serious.
As a result of my.
Okay, so now I've got the vidIQ extension on here, so we can see the views on this video. Wait, no, that's my stats. Okay, there we go. The views on this. So he's had 55,000 views and 400 and some odd likes in the first 7 days. Overview. He's definitely spiked from this.
Don't affect me, they affect Reddit. As such, a company ought take actions to minimize such harm or mistakes, because they're the ones with the $50 billion company on the line, not me. I get to walk out of this with a laugh and some viral attention, which I clearly brought onto myself. I mean, I wouldn't have made a public video otherwise, although I wasn't quite expecting things to get this big.
And even if you did have...
Yeah, that's going to really hurt your opportunities when you go for a job search and you basically have employers being like, hey, this you? At least when I have my videos, people can be like, hey, this you with this cybersecurity content? Although most likely what will end up happening is they find me for the random snippets of me being live and offhanded. I didn't think this one through either.
to lawyers and other brand deals, it wouldn't have prevented something like this from happening.
It would have helped because if there was a whole pipeline and process, I would have gone through those processes. And then the vetting would have been done by Reddit itself, not me.
You know what also would have helped? There's this thing. It's called grass. I know. It's a fantasy realm to Reddit mods. It's grass, okay? It's this green stuff. If you touch it with your feet, it actually feels kind of nice. And, you know, you can do all sorts of things like play soccer, football, bring a dog to the park. You should try it sometime. I know. It sounds mythical, but it's real. And yeah.
Anyone who has ever visited LSF in the last, 7 years will tell you it is not a subreddit for crazy, wacky clips of gaming and, stream fails or anything like that.
Your description of LSF.
Look at his background. He's already living in fantasy. God damn it! I touched grass so much that it didn't even click. Holy crap! And can we talk about this fucking purple aura that he has? Like, why does a dude have to have a green screen? Like, I don't even do that shit. Could I do that shit? Absolutely. Have I done that shit on TikTok videos? But I ain't doing that. I just put a beaded curtain up with a hamsa, or as, my Muslim brothers will call it, a henda Fatima, and then, create a vibe. But it feels like, to me, anyone that really is, bullshit kind of has, this purple color around them anyway. Like, there's this whole meme that my friends that are TikTok creators had a few years ago. We called Purple Tech, where we noticed anyone giving bullshit advice had, purple backgrounds.
Potato Cad is now chilling in the lab.
Hey, thank you for the follow, Potato. I will say that I'm very glad I grew up before cameras were everywhere. Otherwise, there would be probably a picture of me giving Mitnick a thumbs up at a DEF CON right after he made the person presenting look like complete stupid. I mean, that's not the worst thing to happen. But I, too, am thankful for those kind of things because there's some videos out there of high school and college parties that I've attended that, are definitely on people's phones. Nothing, incriminating, just stupid underage drinking things, like when we duct taped my buddy's feet together and then he got off the couch and fell face planted, and then we had to literally see him hop like a bunny to the bathroom, or stuff like that, or the time we did jackass stunts because that was all the rage. How I did not break a bone is beyond my understanding. But yeah,
Midnight Poet
I'm
is
very
now
thankful
chilling
for that.
in the lab.
Hey, thank you for the follow, Midnight Poet. But yeah, I'm very thankful because the problem is now everyone has a camera. And you know what pisses me off? I go to the gym and there are people with cameras, recording for their own things. And straight up, I have had a couple of incidents over the years where a woman happens to be recording, and I just happen to be zoning out in her direction. You finish a good set, you're just staring off, trying to get your breath before the next set, and they think that you're checking out her ass. And I'm just like, no, I'm just staring in your direction because I literally, if I get up from the bench press, I'm straight up there, and I'm just getting a breath, and then I'm going to go do another set. And I get annoyed that people do that shit, too, where they record randomly in gyms without any conception of people around them whatsoever. That maybe they don't want to be recorded. Or if you want to do that stuff, maybe find an area that, you're facing a wall or something. Yeah, calm down, B. You're not that hot. On that note, there was a time when a woman was going at me and I was like, honey, I have a boyfriend. The look on her face, I didn't need to tell her that I was bi, but it was just, I knew I could get that knife twist in. I was staring into the distance, trying to forget the horrors I saw before. Also, sweetie, my boyfriend's ass is nicer. That's why I bought body weight workout equipment, so I don't have to go to the gym. That's pretty much why I have a gym. I have a Bowflex upstairs. I have a treadmill, a bench. I've got adjustable weights and stuff like that. I got to clean it out a little bit, but yeah. Anyway.
Is correct. Lately, there's been a lot of political drama that has pushed out other content. It's been such a big issue that I've been trying to think of solutions for months. But your response to me doesn't really make any sense. Let's use an example to explain why. Let's say I were to claim, I want to add more gaming clips to LSF, and someone were to respond to me by saying, what do you mean more gaming clips? LSF doesn't have any gaming clips. Well, my response to that response would be, yeah, you're right. That's why I want to add more gaming clips. You have noticed the problem, I have noticed the problem, and I want to take an action to fix it. Now, would clips from a live stream reality
Nobody
TV
really
show
cares about
do well in LSF, or would they just get
gaming
downvoted
mishaps
into
as much.
oblivion? I'm not really sure, but I don't think the topic is so far off or so crazy that it would be impossible for
I
these
like
types
a
of
walking
clips to do
pad.
well.
I got a
It's worth it
treadmill
to
to do
try.
running and
Obviously,
walking.
things would already be being clipped and posted on the LSF subreddit. Why would you be reaching out about a collaboration to ensure that happens when you know for a fact it already would?
You are partially right. Some clips would get posted, some might even do well. But you would be surprised at how little clips get posted to LSF for how large of a subreddit it is. I counted, and as of this exact moment, there were 40 clips posted to LSF in the last 24 hours. That's not that many. My theory is, what if a dedicated
What if a guy, my theory is, what if a guy didn't have any life and decided, I'm going to count how many clips of Reddit has uploaded per day?
team, or hell, one guy spent full time trying to find good clips, titling them correctly, and posting them to LSF. Could one guy find and edit 40 clips a day for a week and then post them to LSF, outnumbering all of the rest of the users combined? Maybe. That is, of course, a very extreme example to demonstrate a point. A better number would be more like 4 a day. And what's 4 divided by 40? Well, that's 10%. I think that would be noticeable.
Why, though? LSF best clip is just the best clip from the event. Why does LSF's name need to be attached to it? I just don't even get this stretch goal here.
Let me pitch you the idea.
I don't
more
get it
directly,
either.
because I think it could be very funny. I don't mean a couple people find the best clips that happen on the show. Instead, I mean that there would be a timed competition where streamers compete to create clips on the fly, post them to LSF, and whoever could farm the subreddit the best wins. Let me brainstorm a couple examples.
That doesn't sound fun at all. That just sounds like you have people that definitely could do better things with their time. And the best clips of live stream fails don't happen, you know, by forcing it. They happen organically. Like one of these days, I'm going to rip my ass open or something like that on live stream. You know, like I'm going to bend over and my pants are going to just tear and something like that. And then that'll be clipped. That'll be great. One day I might just shit myself for all we know. There we go. Why does bro look and act like someone who'd be a villain in Dan Schneider's Nickelodeon? I'm not going to be able to unsee that now. Hold up. I'm just curious now. Not only does he look like a villain that Dan Schneider would have, but I just got to do this. I got to do this, okay? Do you not see the resemblance? Come on! Woo! 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 Almost blacked out there. I laughed so hard. Probably gonna have nightmares from that. Yeah, like, you know, like, ah! Ah! Jump scares. Same hairstyle at 10% opacity. Insert SpongeBob meme, all because he ripped his pants. I didn't know how right I was, and now I need a drink. Did you just fall off the walking pad, Jessica? Oh.
Show why this could be very funny. What if Extra Emily purposely runs a red light and crashes a car? What if somebody gets a shot collar while wearing a Che Guevara t-shirt and then shocks somebody who's wearing a dog furry outfit? Heck, put them together.
What the fuck? Hold up. I was trying to, like, set that up, and I just, like, missed that.
And crashes a car. What if somebody gets a shot collar while wearing a Che Guevara t-shirt and then shocks somebody who's wearing a dog furry outfit? Heck, put them together. Extra Emily crashes a car into the furry. And I think streamers could come up with some ideas that are a lot more...
I get where he's going with that, but I'm just sitting there like... Wow! That may have tripped. Homie, just embrace the bald and shave off that clown crown. Yeah, with the comb over hair. Like, look, at least some of us have just embraced it, you know?
The ones that I just did.
At least I know, like, for example, you know, when it comes to my baldness, like, if you stick my head in a bowling ball cleaner, I would actually be so shiny that you can then look into my head and see your future.
A refund. I haven't seen anyone, you know, posting receipts of getting a refund from the money they spent on this. Where are you getting that information from? That's a genuine question.
Regarding the $1 million fan situation, I realize that I clearly don't have all the information, so I don't want to comment on it that much. That being said, I did have a new piece of information available to show. The company has given me a redacted and time-stamped refund that you can see right here.
Redacted! But they redacted it. Now, here's the thing, okay? Devil's advocate here. Yes, you don't want to give PII away of things that have been, you know, redone and all that stuff. But you could just as easily make this up. Until there are actual people going around proving that they themselves got refunded, yeah.
Additionally, they say this is all they can provide right now, given user privacy laws.
Right.
It's not that nobody notices, it's that
Did
nobody's
you shine your head in the
about
Shino
it,
ball?
where they can hide certain things or boost certain things. That's a bad thing. Everyone knows that it exists, and everyone knows that there is actual power in that. I don't think anyone actually disputes that.
Hey, I'm glad it's obvious to you too. But when I said Reddit moderators have power in my deadpan moderator voice, a lot of people made fun of me for it. But
Your mom probably made fun of you for it too. And also, I'm going back to this. We're making fun of you for that too.
perhaps the perception of the egotistical Reddit moderator who looks funny and takes his unpaid janitorial duties way too seriously was too much for people to look past, and they couldn't see the truth of the matter. I'm not happy about it either. That is in fact exactly why I made these videos. People who are looking at me in horror or laughter or pity should ask themselves what that says about the $50 billion.
Wait, did you say he looks like Gargamel? Oh shit, now we gotta look this up. Hold up. Holy shit. Holy shit. You get both the live action version and the cartoon. Holy crap. His mom said, I'm disappointed in you. And why I should have swallowed is what she probably also followed up with. His dad's probably saying, I should have pulled out.
Platform that is Reddit. Take every insult that you have against me about how I'm incompetent, about how I'm biased, egotistical, power hungry, etc., all that, and ask yourself, how does that make you feel about Reddit, knowing that I was able to control one of the top subreddits on the platform for over a year with borderline dictatorial powers, doing who knows what that you'll never find out about. And
just that we've all been vindicated that this is how moderators act and look like for Reddit. That's how we feel. Vindication! Okay, anyway. Yes, but he does have to nix the last part of that hair up top, pretty much. The best part of you ran down the crack of your mama's ass and ended up as a brown stain on the mattress. That's pretty... Ah! Okay, this reminds me of that bad copy pasta about setting a hitman level inside a hotel that happens to be hosting a furry convention.
and realize I am the bull in the china shop. I'm telling you these things directly. Forget about me. Think about all the other subreddits that exist. Think about how you have no idea who they are, what they're doing, and every time somebody like me gives you a peek under the curtain, society gawks at the insanity of all of it.
You are a moderator in a subreddit. Why are you chasing down brand partnerships and collaborations, buddy?
Yup.
I mean, you're an influencer.
Wait, did he change colors? Yeah, he did. He went from purple to green. He's like, see, I'm not the worst. It's like, you know, going around and then saying like, you see, well, at least I'm not Hitler. Like, that's a great comparison. You are a toy. Toy Story reference, I see it.
With a platform. Why do you do it? You could say personal enrichment, but you don't strike me as somebody who's completely motivated by money. I could imagine you doing a brand deal or partnership, not for money, but just with a group that you think is cool for your community.
I'm saying this as a content creator. Yes, we do seek out brand deals in hope of monetization. Now, I am a tech creator, so I will also do collaborations with companies to have them send me hardware so I can give an honest review for them. Sometimes that will often be without any money, but even if they do give me money, the condition is that I get to do it with, without any of their input whatsoever. All the feedback is genuine of mine. But that's because content creators, a lot of us, hope to actually either make that a legitimate side business or a full-time business. In the case of Charlie, Moist Critical, he is a full-time content creator. You are a volunteer janitor on a Reddit subreddit. There's a complete difference. And aren't you the guy that's saying, like, I'm a highly paid software engineer in San Francisco? Kim Possible, we need you. Yeah. Somebody call her, beep her, because we need to reach her. He was yellow earlier, too. Was it yellow? Huh. I used to actually own Rex, not the toy version, the Dino Rears one made by Tycho. Huh. My tinfoil hat on, he's playing with the colors for his metrics.
You just want to. And
Maybe.
Reddit is a platform, like any other platform, and moderators are in charge of it. I know this is rare and nobody does this stuff. That's my entire point. Reddit as a platform is underutilized. So just like you might utilize your platform, why can't moderators? You brought up examples of...
Because a moderator is a completely different thing. Moderators are given specific duties inside the community to moderate the content. Now, it's true, some moderators do double duty. Like, we have one of my mods that also gets paid to clip my videos. And he's now also, I'm pushing him in to learn how to do professional communications and maybe reach out for brand deals. And there's going to be a monetary agreement behind that if he lands deals, he gets a cut of it. But that's a totally different thing. And I hope that one day I can get the rest of my moderators to that point where I can pay them a little bit of money, because it is, a little bit of a thing. But most moderators are there voluntarily because they want to be part of the community and they want to, make sure the community is sane. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. It bothers me. It bothers me a lot. And that's the one still green.
conflicts of interest. Well, let's do the same thing again. What do you do about conflicts of interest? A company could work with you, and you could also be incentivized to, not say something bad about them or cover some drama involving them. The reality is, conflicts of interest are everywhere in life. It's good to be aware of them. It's good to minimize risks associated with them. But I don't see why Reddit is so sacrosanct of a platform that it's different from any other platforms where conflicts of interest exist.
It's not that it's sacrosanct. It's that it's not your responsibility to take upon as the moderator of something to go out and get deals for it. Because Reddit is completely different than, say, a YouTube creators community that also happens to be live streaming, which Charlie is, and also to a much smaller capacity, I am as well. You're just some dude that moderates some posts on a random subreddit that a lot of people didn't even know exists. I know a lot of streamers know it exists, but this is an apples and oranges argument over there. There's a difference between you volunteered to be a moderator. No one, said, hey, if you do this, you'll get paid, or there's all this and all that. You stepped out of line and you got burned for it, to the point that Reddit themselves had to step in and remove your moderation privileges. In the same way that if I found out any of my other moderators were taking deals on the side to push any products inside of my community, and there was a true conflict of interest, like say it didn't jive with my ethics or something like that, like let's say that Microsoft went to my moderators and said, I want you to save money now and everyone can eat, get money in the daytime, even counting when I sleep, wake up and getting bread, bitch, I do this for the streets, ADHD.
Midnight Poet just subscribed.
Thank you for that sub there. Appreciate you, Midnight Poet. But where I was going with that, let's say a moderator of my own community happens to be taking deals, let's say from Microsoft, to go push pro Microsoft content in there. and just, you know, be blatantly pro-Microsoft, telling everyone to reinstall Windows 11 and things like that. Like, look, if people want to go install Windows 11 of their own accord, I'm not, you know, complaining. Use the best tools, you know, for your job and everything like that. But let's say they did that. Then that would not jive with me, and then there would be an issue. Let's say, in this case, we found out it was a legitimate scam they were pushing, like the $1 Million Fan Club. I would be kicking their ass out and going to town to find justice for all the people that had been scammed in my community. That's what happened. Yeah, I made play the whole sound excerpt. Finally. Yeah, I know. Fucking you. Okay, I might just show my age here a bit, but think back to the advertising placement in Wayne's World and how they handled it. Yes! Yes! Exactly! The Wayne's World segment. Like, to give you an idea of, like, what he's talking about. Sponsor segment. I'm gonna read the script, okay? Because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to, you know, have to censor this a little bit. Hold on. Sponsor. Okay. Wayne, listen, we need to talk about Vanderhoff. The fact is he's the sponsor and you signed a contract guaranteeing him certain concessions, one of them being a spot on the show. Holding a Pizza Hut box. Well, that's where I see things just a little differently. Contractor, no, I will not bow to any sponsor. Benjamin goes, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but basically it's the nature of the beast. And then Wayne goes again, holding a bag of Doritos. Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but for me, the beast doesn't include selling out. Garth, you know what I'm talking about, right? And then he's like, Garth is like there wearing a Reebok robe. It's like people only do these things because they can get paid. And that's just really sad. You know, like if you see that whole scene, if you haven't seen Wayne's World, by the way, you really should see it. Like that is one of the best movies of all time. Wayne's World. But like totally, like that entire thing makes sense. Like if you're going to do it like that, do it like that. Like there's been, you know, like I've obviously had sponsored content. I had the thing with Doppler, but I was already using Doppler and stuff like that. Yeah, anyway, we've gone on that tangent long enough. I beat that horse dead.
For Reddit moderators, we're representing other people. We don't truly own the platform, so maybe it's more important for us to be unbiased compared to other platforms.
Yeah.
Yes. But man, if we're worried
little
about
bit.
bias, I can promise you that there are way bigger fish to fry in terms of how biased moderators are allowed to be, that I'm not sure that brand deals for community events is really the biggest danger out there.
It's not the issue of the brand deal in and of itself. It's that the brand deal was a scam. And you're not accepting that you didn't do your due diligence. You scammed the people on your platform, which is why Reddit stepped in and removed you. To this day, people still do the whole, we're not worthy thing to Alice Cooper. Dude, if I ever meet Alice Cooper, I still am going to do that. I think Alice Cooper still enjoys that. I think. Two stoners in their basement making a TV show. I can tell you, in COVID, I was one stoner making a bunch of TikToks. I don't smoke anymore. Can't do that because of my job. Got to be an adult and responsible. COVID, you know, ending really ruined that whole vibe for all of us. I will be right there on my knees with you. Phrasing!
It's something to look out for.
There are no qualifications to be a Reddit mod.
You're right. There aren't any qualifications. But maybe there should be. Maybe because there are no such qualifications, this is why we're seeing all the problems that we see. It seems like you're trying to have this every—
He's yellow now! He's yellow now, I just noticed that! Ha! And I know what? I said it, I still mean it. Fair enough.
This is why we're seeing all the problems that we see. It seems like you're trying to have this every way past Sunday without realizing that the premises that you've agreed to lead to a conclusion. These facts that we have agreed on are that Reddit is a $50 billion company that moderators have power over.
No, not as much as you think, because now they actually yanked your ass out of the Reddit. You're just sour that, you know, people held you accountable for pushing a scam. Lobo wants to be their hand.
Not as much power as an overly invested, egotistical power mod as myself might like to believe, but power not.
Hooray! He said it! Hooray! Wait.
Us and most Reddit moderators are completely unqualified, biased, power hungry, and are doing a bad job, and Reddit isn't doing anything to fix it. Maybe it should.
They did. They removed you. They fixed it. Do they do it enough? No. But they did the right thing this time.
Me, I'm out of ideas. My solutions are bad and didn't work. But I see a problem, I see the effect it has, and I don't know how to fix it. So if anybody else has any idea about...
If you know how to fix it, well, the first thing I would tell you is to fix that fucking hairdo. Like, dude, just own the fact that you're bald. Pot meet kettle. Own it. Just shave it off. Like, what was it? Was it Streetlight Manifesto? Or was it Big D and the Kids Table that had the song Dirt Lip? Shave it off. Dirt Lip. Same thing with comb over. Comb over. Shave it off.
How to fix this? Please say so. You might be surprised as to who listens. Thank you.
Thanks for reminding me that I need to shave my skull. You're very welcome. Okay. Vampire, you and your goddamn hightail videos. I'll eventually set it up, okay?
This mod should not be possible. A modder by the name of IMCXV7 figured out how to make crossplay work between Hytale and Minecraft. You can now join the same server, interact with one another, build together, and even PvP, regardless of what game you're playing on. Do you guys realize how insane that is? We thought it was crazy when Geyser made Bedrock and Minecraft Java crossplay doable. This is on a whole other level. Now you can play on Hytale servers from all three of Java, Bedrock, and Pocket Edition. So I guess to some degree, you no longer even need Hytale to play Hytale. But still, you should get the game. It's a lot of fun, and I imagine this will be very, very janky. Still, isn't this freaking cool? This mod...
That's interesting. Okay, can a Temo PC handle Pop OS? Okay, this is gonna be interesting. Oh, there was someone that asked earlier, I missed it, I just remembered, I was planning to answer it, about, they're planning to install, Bazite on their machine, and if they should make it on the operating system they're about to purge. Just do it on the operating system you're about to purge. It doesn't matter. 6 half a dozen the other. Windows goes out the window.
Video, I will completely wipe everything on this PC, install Linux on it, and see if it's any better. This bad boy right here is a mini PC from Temu that has a screen on the front that we bought about a year ago. And while the RGBs were nice, impressive, the performance in spyware situation was pretty rough overall. And so in this video, I will completely wipe everything on this PC, install Linux on it, and
what are the specs of the PC? That's what I'm curious about.
See if it's any better. We'll also find out if I can get the screen to finally do some wild stuff. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and take my...
Please don't tell me that he made it play hentai on his front screen.
Linux stick here and install it on this PC, and we'll see what happens. All right, guys, I have made it to the BIOS. I love that it looks like it's straight.
Okay, so we've got an Intel N95, so not a strong PC, but 16 gigs of RAM, 2066 megahertz. I doubt there is that powerful of a GPU in there. It's probably running integrated graphics.
Like 2003, but whatever.
It's not from 2003. That's just how a lot of BIOSes work. Like, that's good AMI BIOS. Like, that is proper BIOS, okay? Don't need that UEFI crap. I hate UEFI. Hate it. Should have never existed. But Microsoft pushed that crap. Here we are. Kind of want one of those and have it rickroll someone powering it up on startup. It's an Ace Magic, so I'm betting you can find that anywhere. I'm not going to buy anything from Temu, but I will totally buy it from AliExpress. So let me take a look for a second. Let's go to AliExpress. Which, by the way, I just bought some stuff from AliExpress. Some anime figures and a couple of mouse mats. The mouse mats that I have are from AliExpress. So let's see. Ace Magic mini PC. I'm just curious. Can we find that exact one? Probably not. I wish you gave us the model number or something like that. There it is. Ace Magic S1. Oh, that's neat. It's got dual NICs. You could totally set that up as a basic firewall if you wanted. This looks like it's slightly more powerful. N95 was the old one with an N100. No RAM, no ROM. $355. Okay, just curious if it changed the price or anything. So it's running an Intel N100. That screen is kind of nice. That'd be kind of fun to, like, set that up if you could somehow display, like, what's going through the firewall. That'd be nice, just being honest. But, I like, if you were to set this up as a basic pfSense firewall, that'd be great. I don't know if you get that screen to work with FreeBSD, but...
The thing I really want to do here is turn off Secure Boot. And there we go, that's disabled.
Intel N95 is slightly better iGPU.
This to boot straight into the drive. Oh, and there it is. Now, I've chosen Pop! OS for our install here. Now, if you don't know, there are about, I don't know, 32,000 different versions of Linux I could have thrown on here. Pop! OS seemed good enough for what this guy needs, and for the screen specifically, I needed like a certain type of Linux, so Pop! OS works for that.
You don't need a type, you just did a Linux with the desktop environment that can do the things that you want it to do.
Criteria that I need here.
I use Pop!
Whenever
OS,
it boots
though.
up, this is not a good sign. Oh, there it goes. Oh, we have reached the coveted black screen. Oh, we've evolved to gray screen. Wow, the cosmos, the space. Oh my gosh. I've never actually used Pop! OS. This looks very cool. Anyway, we'll mess around with it in a second. Let's just go ahead and get it installed first. In this video, I will completely...
Well, where's the actual video of it? Like, he just, like, quick-baited us into that? Am I gonna have to go drag this frickin'... This guy's a Pokemon card dealer, dude. Somehow that tracks. These are all, like, Pokemon videos? What? Okay. So, where's the video of... So where's the actual video, then, that he had of here? That's a re-upload? Oh, god damn it.
In this video, I will complete...
So, where's the original channel from? Yeah. This is what I hate. It's like, I was kind of curious, where's the end result? Doesn't show the end result. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, if you can link the full video, that'd be great. Just drop it in the comments. We'll watch it in a sec. So this is from UFD Tech.
Despite what you've heard, NVIDIA might actually be the good guy in this GPU shortage. It turns out, all those rumors that you've been hearing of the green GPU companies screwing over gamers by jacking up the prices or making it so they're selling graphics chips without memories, forcing the companies to source their own VRAM, are simply fabricated or false rumors. And in fact, it seems like the exact opposite is true. There's been no price hikes by NVIDIA, and they've been actively absorbing all the price increases to memory instead of forcing their partners to pay more. And they're not discontinuing.
I don't really believe that it's gonna happen for the long term. They're gonna eventually be like, hey, they're making more money over here. Screw these gamers and their Cheeto dust fingers.
No matter how much VRAM it has. This was confirmed by multiple industry sources, not NVIDIA themselves, to WCCF Tech, that all the fear-mongering just isn't happening on the back end. So why the price increases then? Not NVIDIA's agreed, but hikes from the companies like Asus, Gigabyte, MSI, etc., as well as the retailers. Those sale prices are independent from how much cash Big Daddy Jensen is earning off each of the cards. But that also doesn't mean there isn't a shortage either. There's still limited memory supply, so there's going to be limited stock. And Macro Econ 101 teaches you that means prices
I don't know why
will rise, but it appears that the
I don't know. Everyone makes a
NVIDIA is earning
mistake
from AI means they're helping helping gamers out by not jacking up the costs on their side. Despite
Okay, so we'll grab the video that Hans found. I swear to God, if this is a Rick roll. Okay, good.
This bad boy right here is a mini PC from Temu that has a screen on the front that we bought about a year ago. And while the RGBs were mighty impressive, the performance in spyware situation was pretty rough overall. And so in this video, I will completely
spyware situation, I guess, because it's a Temu PC.
Linux on it and see if it's any better. We'll also find out if I can get the screen to finally do some wild stuff. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and take my little Linux.
Why did he like spell it that way? Lenicks.
Stick here and install it on this PC and we'll see what happens. All right, guys, I have made it to the BIOS. I love that it looks like it's straight from like 2003, but whatever.
It's a great BIOS. It's the same BIOS that looks like when I use my Super Micro boxes. It just does exactly what you need it to do. No fluff, no fuss, just use your keys and flip the button and do the thing.
The thing I really want to do here is turn off Secure Boot. And there we go, that's disabled. But we're just gonna go ahead and hit this to boot straight into the drive. Oh, and there it is. Now I've chosen Pop! OS for our install here. Now if you don't know, there are about, I don't know, 32,000 different versions of Linux I could have thrown on here. Pop! OS just seemed good enough for what this guy needs, and for the screen specifically, I needed like a certain type of Linux, so Pop! OS works for that criteria.
You didn't really need a certain type. It's more the desktop environment, as we said a little bit earlier. And I'm using Pop! OS, so I'm not bad-mouthing Pop! OS. I'm just saying he could have used Debian and then used GNOME or anything else and probably been fine. BIOS has been the same since forever. It isn't supposed to have a ton of fluff. It's supposed to be just an interface. Exactly. You're not in the BIOS most of the time. You're in there when you set the computer up, when you need to do a BIOS update, or you're doing some kind of change that requires it. Like maybe you're adjusting fan curves or things like that. You don't need to be in there. I don't understand why nowadays I have to use a fucking mouse when I'm going to use the BIOS nowadays inside like this machine or that machine. Do people not remember the old days when you had to make sure your drivers were on the same disk recovery partition? Do people not remember when you had to install drivers in the right order? Do people not remember when you... Yeah, like there's a lot of things.
That I need here. If it ever boots up, this is not a good sign. Oh, there it goes. Oh, we have reached the coveted black screen. Oh, we've evolved to gray screen. Wow, the cosmos, the space. Oh my gosh. I've never actually used Pop! OS. This looks very
so this
cool.
is 2404 with
anyway,
Rust.
We'll mess around with it in a second. Let's just go ahead and get it
Cosmic.
installed first. It's having trouble reading my input. I hit the select button, but it doesn't seem to want to be doing anything. What did I do wrong already? How possibly could I have done something wrong? All right, we're gonna hit clean install. Erase everything. Get Windows off this thing. You know, I gotta say, I've never seen this desktop environment before because I don't use Pop! OS. I'm more of an Arch, by the way, boy myself, but I do.
That does not surprise me. You look like an Arch user.
Do quite like how fancy this looks. Like, oh, look at this. You hit the Windows key and it opens up a search thing by default. That's kind of cool. Cosmic Files. This is our file manager. This is kind of cool looking.
Okay, I can't get over the fact that he's an Arch user now. Because the guy was hating on a BIOS screen and then saying, you know, he uses Arch. The operating system, you literally have to go into terminal a lot for and script and then use Pac-Man and all that. Yeah.
This whole layout here, having this top bar with various things, this reminds me a lot of Mac OS. Same with this bottom task row down here. I wonder if there's a way to get it in more of a Windows style, but I don't know.
Ew.
It doesn't really matter.
No! Windows is horrible. Windows has a bad UI. Like, seriously, the only reason why Windows has the UI it does is because people got used to it from Windows 95. It is horrible. I am saying this as a former Mac user, a former Windows user, and a Linux user. Mac has a better UI. There are still some stupid choices they make with the operating system, but the Mac UI and user experience is much better, and that's why a lot of people actually prefer the Mac UI over Windows. They'll use Windows because it's more comfortable, not because it's necessarily better. Once Linus is gone, the Linux Foundation is going to be responsible. Politics has no place in merit. Yeah. I missed 98. 95 had problems, but 98 was great. XP was great. XP Service Pack 2 to be specific. Service Pack 2 and Service Pack 3 were great. Original XP and Service Pack 1, not so much.
Was messing around. It looks like we're all done here. Let's go ahead and restart device. Now, sometimes these Linux installs, they automatically tell your PC to boot into the operating system. Other times they don't do that, but it looks like it's working. Now, like I mentioned before, this PC was only $150 originally, but that's still a lot of money.
150 bucks? Okay, it's not bad for 150 bucks. But AliExpress had it for like 355. God, shit's gotten expensive. That's probably because, you know, it's adding the Trump tariffs onto it.
To me right now since I just blew it all on TikTok stuff for this channel. But hey, I'm not stressing about it because Clover, the sponsor of today's video, has my back with up to $400 of advance on my paycheck. So what exactly is Clover? Well, it's simply a way to get access to the money you're already earning a little early without predatory interest rates, credit checks, or late fees like payday loans often have.
What's the catch? I don't like these apps. I don't recommend people use any kind of loan advance apps because there's always a catch, and it feels like a payday kind of thing where you're just going to end up paying more and more. Not only that, it breeds bad habits. If you can't afford the thing, don't do the thing. And if you're honestly in between paychecks where there's an issue, I mean, there's an issue there, but then you create a cycle. It's important to break that cycle. And a lot of times it goes down to you're buying stupid bullshit. Stop buying stupid bullshit.
The idea here is that the next...
But I can Klarna my Costco hot dog! You know, it pains me to learn that you can Klarna, not groceries. I mean, if you're, you know, like, hand-to-mouth, that kind of thing, I can kind of get it. But you have people that are using Klarna for DoorDash. You should not be ordering food out if you can't afford it. Go to Costco. Go to, you know, Trader Joe's, whatever. Get food. Make your own meals. It's a lot cheaper that way. Hell, you go to Costco, you can get like this chicken yakisoba stir-fry stuff. Literally throw that in a wok. It's like 20 bucks. Meals for two, right there. I would have easily paid about $15 to $20 a plate if I went anywhere else to get the same thing, and I was happy with that. Yitz and I were both happy with it.
Next time you're completely out of cash and have an emergency...
The catch is you give CEO head.
come up, you can...
Hold on. I just want to... Was that what I saw there?
Here is that the next time you're completely out...
Does he have a Yu-Gi-Oh card in his wallet? You strike me as the type of guy that would have a Yu-Gi-Oh card in your wallet.
Out of cash and have an emergency...
Yeah. He's going to walk around and be like, you're going to get mugged. And it's like, we're going to duel.
Come up, you can trust that Clover will cover you without needing to worry about the hidden costs. So,
do you know how bad it is when you're a Linux user ragging on another Linux user? Just putting that out there. I cast grave or whatever. My friend used to drop ship. She sold electric scooters. At one point, some guy bought from her, complained about no free shipping. Then he bought another one for his other kid. He did that because he could use Klarna on my friend's Oh, yeah. I cast pot of greed, allowing me to draw 2 cards from my deck.
How does it all work? Well, just install the app.
No. Let's be clear here, Potato Cat. This is not being a Linux user. This is being an Arch user.
Set up your account and select how much money you need. From here, you can get your money in 3 business days for free. You can use the point advance without the...
This is an Arch user, okay? There are Linux users and there are Arch users. Yes, Abby, you are lumped in with those. You know.
Crazy fees you'd see in other apps. So if you're short on cash, remember that you can access up to $400.
He's bad at being an Arch user. I gatekeep Arch, apparently, BTW. 3 business days.
No credit check or late fees with Clover. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code so they know I sent you. Oh, here we go. We're in our actual install now. Nice. And that's it. I mean, that really was not that big of a deal. It only took...
I will admit that I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in 2002 when I was still in high school. I still have my Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards from when I was in middle school. I could probably get some money for them. But yeah. Like, I'm not making fun of the fact that, you know, like, you have Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's the fact that you're openly using Yu-Gi-Oh cards and you're an Arch Linux user. Like, dude, you are a walking meme.
A while because this PC is a little bit slow.
Now I only play Magic the Gathering like a responsible adult. So basically, you took a mortgage out on your house to be able to take care of your hobby. Couldn't you have done like Warhammer figurines and saved money at that point?
Whiffy? I'm just going to skip that for now. Cosmic Dark?
I meant you dragging on him, though the degree of Linux users ragging on each other definitely varies, at least in my experience.
Cosmic Light? Cream Light? Ugh. Ooh, it's kind of nice though. Mocha Dark. Ooh, I kind of like Cosmic Dark. This looks pretty nice. Oh, here you go. You can pick between Windows style. Ooh.
Ew.
Or the Mac OS style that we saw.
Ew.
Let's just go Windows to keep things consistent. Oh,
ew.
Some good shortcuts. Oh yeah, that's nice. Look at this. I'm doing this all with the keyboard. This is some nice shortcut action. I like that quite a bit. But anyways, just like that, we're in.
Yeah, Pop OS actually has nice.
Oh, we still get a search bar. Okay.
Stuff.
It's not quite like Windows. The very first thing I want to do, I want to lower the resolution quite a bit. In the original video, I believe I had it at 1080p the whole time. So just to be fair for all the performance tests, we are going to keep it at 1080p for this install as well.
I got like Blue Eyes White Dragons and a few others.
Everyone hates this. Okay, up next, before we continue, I'm going to go ahead and install a bunch of updates and make sure our machine is as ready to go as possible. All right, well, I went ahead and checked for updates, but it looks like
Pop OS does look nice.
A good old restart just to be safe.
I'm looking forward to using.
There she goes.
Arch user doesn't know command to restart Linux machines. But news at 6. Yeah, I do like Pop OS, the new one. The GUI does look really nice, but I'm waiting until Pop OS 2604, which will be in a few months, for me to do that. Because there's no point in me going to 2404 right now if 2604 is right around the corner. Lot new updates and yeah.
What is this? What is green? What do I do with green?
Several days later.
Okay guys, I am back. Everything is set up now. I installed some programs and I even did extensive, debatably too extensive research into getting this screen working. In fact, it's doing something really cool right now, but I can't show you. We have to wait.
It's because he's playing hentai.
So to start things off, I figure we can just run a classic Ookla speed test, but let's see how it can handle our gigabit internet. Oh, it's getting there. It took it a second. I can actually hear it getting slightly noisier, but oh my god, the upload speed it had no problem with. What in the world? Okay, well that was a little weird, but somehow we are getting speeds that are close to our gigabit cap. Next, I want to run the same test, but this time I want to connect to Wi-Fi.
The reason he's actually getting close to gigabit because of the overhead from just networking in general. Which is why I've gone to a 2.5 gigabit because in order to get full utilization of gigabit, you have to have 2.5 gigabit. My modem doesn't have that. And there's no point in me buying a new modem to support that because when High Split comes around from Spectrum, I'm going to have to use their modem anyway.
Wi-Fi and see how that works. All right, so I've gone to our settings. We've turned on Wi-Fi. Some of the networks actually are showing up. I don't know why our Wi-Fi isn't appearing towards the top of the list, but here's it keeps jumping around, the 2.4 gigahertz one. And then I have to scroll around for some reason, but jumping around down here is our 5 gigahertz connection. All right, we should have Wi-Fi now, so let's go ahead and restart our speed test website. Try this again. Okay, again, it's starting off a little slow. Is it gonna pick up back to like, I don't know, I'd expect 600-ish over 5 gig Wi-Fi on a good machine, but it looks like we're gonna stick closer to 200. That's fine, I guess. But really, that just shows that even Linux cannot fix a bad Wi-Fi chip, I guess. But that's all right. I want to test out watching a YouTube video because this thing was so bad, it had trouble with that in the past, I remember. So just click on this one here and see how this experience goes. It's loaded pretty quick. We are only watching at 720p though. Let's go up to 1080p. I'm gonna go full screen, no hitching. I'm gonna try jumping around in the video. You know, fairly normal, takes a second, but it loads. No problem. Now let's go ahead and bump the video up to 4K. See how this goes. Oh, it looks like we're dropping some frames. And I'm hearing the fan start to really kick it up a notch. In fact, while we're watching this video, I
on my stuff. Unstuff is my job.
On our machine here. Our CPU is getting hammered pretty badly, but not bad enough that you would think we're actually dropping frames. Well, I was gonna check how our GPU is doing, but somehow this app that is pre-installed on Pop OS doesn't have a thing to look at your GPU. Whatever. I am definitely too lazy to install that right now. Either way, you can see the performance is not great overall when we're watching 4K content. And even dropping down to 1440p, it's fine, but it's dropping a few frames and skipping around, it's definitely hitching more than I would like. But hey, if your only goal is a 1080p machine, not bad. Now,
It's an
unfortunately,
Intel
I think that's
N95.
gonna give
You're
us
not
a
going to do
decent
great.
idea of what the gaming experience is going to be like on this machine. In fact, what is this? I tried to resume Steam and it's just black screen. Why are you black screen? Oh, let's just relaunch it. There we go. Now, in the original video, I played 2 games, Half-Life and Ghost Runner, and the performance was not great. So we're going to try the exact same thing here.
I should get back to playing
Cyberpunk,
Ghost
maybe.
Runner.
Who knows? Maybe Linux is so good it'll get it playing that game. All right, well, it took a little while to load and some capture card issues. Nothing to worry about. It was not the PC's fault this time. But we're in Half-Life. It seems to be working fine, as it should. It is a game from 1998, so I would hope it runs okay. Bam, 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 bam. All right, let's try something a little more demanding. And by a little more demanding, I mean a lot more demanding, because we're playing Ghost Runner. Oh yeah, this is some quality performance. Oh my gosh, am I even gonna be able to get to the settings? Oh, let's put it on as low of settings as I'm allowed to. Wow, even with all the settings turned as low as they'll go at the moment, we're at 6 FPS. All right, let's do it. Let's run FSR, go down to performance. Ooh, we're up to 15 FPS, nice. But how's it look in game? Ooh.
But does it run Doom?
The answer is not good. This is horrifically bad, I would say. We are struggling to get to 12 to 15 FPS. Oh no. So just like the YouTube playback, it seems like if the computer's bad on Windows, it's possible that Linux will help a little bit. Like, you know, for like the general desktop use and everything. But for playing games,
That's a hardware limitation.
I don't know about that. I don't know if it's going to save you that much. Oh, gee. Oh, this is going to make me sick. Ugh. How low can I make the resolution in this game? 1024 by 768. Perfect. Sub 1080p. This wouldn't be too bad for a CRT monitor, but yeah, even then we are only getting 30 FPS. Oh no. So yeah, I would say
30
that the
FPS
performance
is
pretty
playable.
bad. So
I
you guys
grew up
think
with
we can
that.
play Cyberpunk? We gotta give it a shot, right? Oh, we have unlocked a black window. And we are still on a black screen. What is black screen? What is it doing? Well, tragically, despite launching a few times with some different settings and everything, I cannot get past the black screen. The black screen is our final boss for this PC. That is okay. You may not believe me, but I found a different way to get Cyberpunk running on this bad boy that I'll show you here in a minute. But for now, I guess we could just leave that running.
He's going to play it on the screen, isn't he?
Do you guys remember when I mentioned a little while ago that I may have had something special brewing with the screen? Well, I think it's time I finally reveal my plan. On the screen right now, playing at, I don't know, maybe 1 frame a second, is a short snippet of the original video we did with this PC where I opened up the back case here. You see, I'm looking at the inside of the PC, and there it is. This took way too much work to get running. It was a lot of pain. And I know what you're thinking. It's got to be something cool, right? Like I gave it a YouTube link and it's like playing the YouTube link in the background. No, have you considered 60 plus individual PNGs that it is trying to play as fast as it possibly can? Because that's exactly what's going on here. The TLDR is looking at the screen, but it's not really a display in the way that you know. It's to send data to this thing is just, it's a nightmare. It's awful. But some absolute genius / madman made a software so you can control the screen on Linux. And I basically just took that and added like a little tiny little bit of something so that it would cycle through some PNGs instead of just showing a background. But this madman, he made like an actual web interface that you run off the PC locally, and you can like configure a bunch of widgets. I'm pretty sure 3 people in the entire world are ever going to use this, and someone spent at least a week and a half on this. The internet is a wild place. By the way, Cyberpunk still is not doing anything. We are still on black screen. See, but that's all right. We have Cyberpunk at home. We have Cyberpunk here on the screen. See, I'm definitely playing, and it's not just another PNG loop. You see how it's like barely moving sometimes, sort of, kind of? That's not a choice. That is literally just how fast the screen is allowed to update. Thank you, Ace Magic. Obviously, what I did here is really dumb, but it is actually like really cool having an image like that on
I
your
do
PC,
like that little Ace Magic screen.
Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video, and have you ever wanted to see what happens when you buy tech from prison? Yes, that is a real thing we somehow managed to do. Click the video.
Nah. Okay, so next video we have is OpenAI is going bankrupt at the short. Oh, this dude.
We at OpenAI are sad to announce that we expect to lose $14 billion in 2026 and will completely run out of money by 2027 if no funding is received.
Yes! Finally! Gaming might be saved! If this is true, then we could start to see RAM and graphics cards start being affordable again.
Yes, our expenses in software training is billions more than the profits we're making off of ChatGPT. There's no way we can maintain this as a business.
Good. It's about time this bubble started popping. Over half of all AI companies in the world have reported no increase in profit or revenue benefits. This is all just stupid hype that's ruining ruining gaming. And sadly, ChatGPT will be forced this year to run ad rolls for users in order to turn a profit. What? Ad rolls on ChatGPT is crazy. You guys are broke, but this is awesome for gamers. We won't need to put down a down payment for PC parts anymore.
Maybe.
It is a bit scary to know.
Okay. Next video. Skip ahead for a little bit. A random developer just solved Adobe on Linux. So, allegedly, Adobe products now work on Linux, which solves one of the complaints a lot of people had, which is that, oh, well, I use Adobe products, so I can't go to Linux. Although I'd tell you that you need to, you know, unhitch yourself from the devil that is Adobe, but I digress.
A lot of people rightfully hate Adobe, but sometimes you have to deal with things you hate. If you work for people that make use of the Adobe suite, or you have clients that expect Adobe things, you kinda have to use the Adobe things. And on Linux, that's a bit of a problem. Now, a lot of the older stuff, like CS5 and stuff like that, generally works pretty well.
Right.
But the modern stuff, not so much. Nowadays, there are projects like WinApps,
What's with the
which
video?
is basically running Windows in a Docker container, so you can
screen.
run the Adobe suite inside of that, and it works. It's not perfect, it's not amazing, but it is better than nothing. But this isn't really running it on Linux. You're running it in a Windows container that is running on Linux. So you're effectively running it on Windows. So what a lot of people want
So it's just virtualization.
is a way to easily run this software straight through Wine. Wine is the common way to translate Windows things into Linux things.
Right.
Nowadays, with Creative Cloud, it's a little funky. Sometimes people get things working, but usually it's not consistent, and it's a whole
And one
big
Adobe
mess.
update can break everything, we know.
Sometimes the apps themselves do work, but you kinda usually need the installer to install the apps.
I don't want to use Adobe either. I use Kden Live. I may go to DaVinci.
Without the installer, a lot of the time it actually works relatively well. The installer itself is usually the breaking point. But thanks to a developer, that is now in the process of changing. I am not going to call you a Redditor, unlike a bunch of random news outlets did. Yes, it was posted on Reddit, but they're a software developer. That's kind of the important part, not the forum they...
If you post it on Reddit and news outlets pick you up as a Redditor, rather than do their due diligence to look into your actual background, that news outlet deserves to be shamed for lack of credibility.
Posted on. Recently, this post was made. I made Adobe CC, that being Creative Cloud installers, work on Linux. Along with the more recent one, now the Creative Collection installer works too. You're gonna notice this, interesting header. Clearly they're running a Windows theme on their system. Is not my vibe.
That's certainly a choice. Not one I'd make, but one I'd make fun of you for.
I appreciate it. It should be noted that whilst I did say the apps generally do work, it's not always the case. So the 2021 installer and app do work mostly fine. Drag and drop, though, doesn't work, but that's very possibly a Wayland problem. As for the
like Blender's video editing
app,
feature, used to
the
use Kden Live.
developer
I haven't played with
does know that
Blender.
it's still broken. The installer works. It's just the app itself doesn't, which is not exactly useful. Yeah, it's cool you can install it, but usually you want to be able to actually run it. However, that is something they are working on, so hopefully at some point that is also resolved. Whilst the patch does exist and does work, don't get too excited yet, because it's not present in any release version of Wine. Better yet, it's not present in any version of Wine that you might reasonably use.
Really?
So the developer submitted the patch here.
What's up, Just Dev?
This is Files Basement. This is their GitHub name. This is the Wine repo. It's Valve's Wine repo. Fix JavaScript event handling and XML parsing for Adobe installers. There is a lot of hype behind these patches, a lot of excitement about getting this resolved, but this isn't the place to submit the patch. So Kisak Valve said, "Hello Files Basement, you've come across a downstream fork of Wine. This pull request should be evaluated and merged upstream before considering if it should be backported to Proton."
That seems like a fair approach. That's why I was going, what? So, Valve has a vested interest in making sure the upstream projects are contributed to, and then they're brought downstream. Now, certain things they bring in because they have to do just minute tweaks to make it work, but this is something to the overall Wine. So, yeah.
This is a repo that you probably are using, especially if you play any games, but this is not the place to go and first submit a non-gaming related patch. Even game-related stuff, a lot of the time you want to send it first up to Wine, and then in cases where it's not really relevant to Wine as a general project, then you bring it back down to the Valve project. When this PR was made is around about the time that outlets like Phoronix started covering this, and started being like, wow, this is amazing, awesome patch. It's in Valve's repo. So, like...
Right.
Maybe don't get super excited just yet. Obviously, the pull request here was closed because it's just not relevant to this project. It might be relevant to the project, but Wine needs to see it first. And with that, since Valve doesn't do a crazy amount of moderation on their repo, this kind of became the place to sort of discuss this patch, at least temporarily, because there's not another open merge request or pull request. If we go to the Wine repo, as of the recording of this, that has yet to be opened.
Why?
Unless you're some god among men, perfect developer, you're likely not going to do things perfectly in the first shot, and when you want to upstream something, there is going to be some additional work, some additional tweaking, cleaning things up, testing it, all this good stuff, but that in and of itself is not actually the reason why it's not been opened, because you could still open a merge request even with additional upstream work needed to be done. Someone obviously said, hey, maybe PR it to the Wine repo, and they said, historically getting things merged can take a while. Valve's fork moves faster, and if it proves stable there, it has a better path to upstream anyway. This is before anything was closed. This is when things were first open.
Okay.
Obviously, that didn't work out in his favor.
No,
I guess it was more of a bet to get it out to people faster, because sometimes Valve does accept PRs, even when not immediately connected to gaming. Usually there is some tangential connection. It'll be related to a game launch.
Yeah, usually it'll be related to some kind of library that maybe runs like a launcher, or some other dependency that the game will depend on, like... Maybe there's specifically a DirectX, improvement there that happens to be for other apps that then, could be like, okay, yeah, this actually improves DirectX overall. Yeah, I get it.
Things like that. When it's something expressly not related to gaming, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know of a case where they've accepted it. If they did accept it,
I don't know of a case.
Because it's like being cherry-picked early, it's already in the upstream repo.
Right.
And at the time, their main reasons for not opening a Wine PR is they're busy. I don't know if they're a high school student or a university student or busy working. Any of these things could be true.
That's fair enough.
It's not a thing yet.
It's
Someone
taken me a while to get back to my Typo Sniper project.
I've been considering, but Wine's contributing guidelines genuinely feel like I have to write the patches in punch cards, put them in an envelope, and send them via mail pigeon to them. Now, obviously, this is hyperbole. It's not actually that bad, but I have heard other people say their contribution guidelines can be a little bit confusing. For Wine staging, it's especially painful with the whole Bugzilla tickets, tag maintainers, etc, but for normal Wine, I physically cannot due to some limit they have on the GitLab instance that is blocking me from even forking it there to make a merge request. Now, apparently, there is some sort of verification process that you need to do.
Interesting.
But if you just come to Wine and you want to submit something, that doesn't appear to be something that is explained to you. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my understanding. So this is basically where we are now.
Right.
The patches were submitted to Valve, not upstream Wine. That still hasn't happened yet. And if you want to use the patches, they basically only exist in this person's fork of Wine in their personal repo, which is obviously very inconvenient to use. So anyone who's very excited about this change, you're probably better off waiting until they sort out getting this upstreamed, or even if somebody else goes and upstreams them. So until that day comes, this is very inconvenient to use because nobody wants to go and build their own version of Wine and patch their own version of Wine. That is a giant hassle, and
it's going to be a pain to maintain.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, things get dealt with. But if they don't, the patches are still there, and there are things like WinApps, so you certainly do have options. They're just not the best options they could be. So, yeah. I know a lot of people don't like Adobe, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, why would you even bother using Adobe on Linux? And understandable. If you have the choice to not use Adobe, don't use Adobe. But if you're in a position where you want to use Linux, but you also want to work a job that requires this software,
I agree.
Sometimes you don't get a choice. Yeah, GIMP is pretty good at handling Photoshop files now, but it's not perfect. And if somebody hands you a file, you save it, you send it back to them, and now it's broken, that can't be done.
Right.
Anyway, if you like the video, go like the video, go subscribe as well, and if you really like the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out the Patreon subscribe Stelly Pay linked in the description down below. That's gonna be it for me, and
10,000 steps done. Yeah, I need to get back on the treadmill and go back to working out. It's been kind of hard with the storm and everything, but yeah. Next video is from Fratanga Plays. NVIDIA's collapse just happened. New lawsuit could end AI slop forever. This was a video I found 4 days ago. I'm still catching up on my videos. I may do another video, another stream tomorrow maybe, in between, or Thursday. But yeah. 100 more steps till hit 10K. Nice. But my shin splints.
NVIDIA's greed is finally catching up to them, or so it would seem. As we've been rooting for the downfall of this AI bubble, which has been projected to lose over $14 billion in 2026. And any dime that doesn't make it into the hands of Jensen Huang, I will take as my own personal W, because I hate him. And I hate everything that NVIDIA has done to the hardware scene. If you've been waiting for some good news, I might just have some for you. Though I may not have the most charming voice, though I may not be the most educated, and I may not have the highest quality videos, I do appreciate you tuning in.
I also snow blowed my driveway. I began walking in the path of the workers and been periodically just walking. Yeah. NVIDIA stocks made me rich. Yeah, but it's going to crater in the entire market in the near future. I think I've done pretty well with silver and silver stocks. Did my TikTok just crash? Huh. I think TikTok just crashed on me. Well, that's fun. I don't know what happened there. I guess I'll just relaunch the TikTok for the last few minutes there. Interesting. No, it's not the Windows PC itself. It is literally, it crashed. TikTok's been having issues. Let's just say that. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Anyway.
If we can get this channel to 124,000 subs.
Yeah, we're going to blame it on Oracle.
More than I deserve, but let's make it happen.
This is why you should be following me on all platforms.
Infrastructure build out in human history. That's gonna create a lot of jobs, and it's wonderful that the jobs are related to.
Isn't TikTok getting restructured? Yeah, they are.
And we're gonna have.
Unfortunately, it's still my largest platform, so it is what it is.
And steel workers, and network technicians and people who install and fit out the equipment, and all of these jobs. In the United States, we're seeing quite a significant boom in this area. Salaries have gone up, nearly doubled. Yeah. And so we're talking about six-figure salaries for people who are building
using C4
chip factories or computer factories or AI factories. And we have a great shortage in that. And I'm really delighted to see so many people in so many countries really recognizing this important area. You know, everybody should be able to make a great living. You don't need to have a PhD in computer science to do so.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
So if you don't know, that little...
Oh, that is a great thing. Like, I was like, this sounds simpler something. It's like that whole Shrek, you know, Lord Farquaad kind of thing. Yeah, he's right. You're structuring into a pile of rubble. Yeah, well. TikTok is what it is. It's unfortunately my largest platform, which is why I've been urging a lot of people to follow me on all my other platforms. Because I've been primarily making YouTube videos and live streaming instead of just making TikTok videos anymore. It's not worth it. It's just not. I want to build something that can actually get deeper into videos and, you know, deeper into content and have discussions and community and everything. And TikTok just... it ain't what it used to be anymore. It ain't the reason why I actually started making content where I built this community and everything, but it is what it is.
Right there is Jensen Huang speaking to Larry Fink. Yeah, that's right. The Larry Fink. As in BlackRock's Larry Fink. The man responsible for, quote-unquote...
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Forcing behaviors in our media.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. 54% of the incoming class are women. We added 4 more points in terms of diverse employment this year. And what we are doing internally is, if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation will be impacted, okay?
We're doing the same thing.
And so it's just, you have to force behaviors. And
the very source of DEI, but that's a topic for another day. All you got to know is...
not the DEI thing. Like, look, I think a lot of the people hating on DEI don't really understand it. Now, is it misapplied in many ways? Yes. But the reality is, and look, as many of you professionals here in the tech field will see this as well, diversity is what, you know, you have diversity inside of tech fields as it is, and that's a great thing, but that's because it's happening on its own. I've left a job for it, applying it wrong. Yeah, exactly. There's one thing when you're hiring people because you're trying to meet a quota of a certain demographic. It's another thing when you're trying to give more opportunities to people that genuinely are worthy of the merit in those fields, but are not given the opportunity because there are issues in society that unfortunately have left certain people behind. That's just how it is. Like, let's look at it this way. My mother was addicted to, you know, pills and drugs, and it set me back quite a bit. Like, I'm now going back to college to get my 4-year degree, but other people had really stable households, so they actually were able to go early on in their college and then get their college paid for and everything like that. That's one, you know, form of, you know, applying DEI properly, is you're giving people like that a chance and not discounting them just because they couldn't afford to get a 4-year degree, and especially one at a prestigious university, because that would have set me back for years. My coworker told me that he has been applying to software engineering jobs. He's just out of college, so I gave him your advice of applying to entry-level help desks because they aren't going to let you into software engineering positions without proof they have experience in the field. Hopefully, our shared advice helps him. Yeah, that also I would tell him, if he's a software engineer, make a GitHub portfolio, put some of your GitHub projects out there, and that will let people see your work out there. I was hired because, straight up, back in the day before I made Stream Demon, which it's called now, I had Twitch and Toot. And the boss that I had was impressed by the fact that I taught myself to use Python and make an automation, even though it was completely unrelated to cybersecurity, but I was monitoring Twitch through the API and then posting to Mastodon when I was live. And now Stream Demon is completely overhauled. There's AI LLM components built into it that it can generate the posts for you. It works with Blue Sky. It works with TikTok. It works with Blue Sky, Mastodon, Discord, and Matrix, and works with Kick, YouTube, and Twitch. Like, those kind of things go a long way to have people have a portfolio and put themselves out there. Because there's a lot of people that'll just go on their resume like, oh, I know JavaScript, I know, C or C++ and things like that. And you may very well know it, but a lot of people are very much in the way of, I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah. You've been doing the GitHub stuff, thankfully. Okay, great. That's great then. What's up, Sapphire? How's it going, buddy?
Disingenuous cocksucker Jensen Huang is sitting right across from another disingenuous CEO cocksucker. And they're collectively talking about how they're going to run the world and society and all the jobs and opportunities that are going to be created through AI. Failing to mention most of that is just contracted work. In terms of long-term investment in employees, a company like NVIDIA is looking to have less of that. The amount of jobs that are going to be created through AI are definitely not going to replace every job that it cuts.
I agree with that.
They wouldn't be investing in AI. You think we're stupid, Jensen? Yeah, let's invest in this tech that'll supply just as many jobs. No, the last thing they want is more jobs on the market.
Because you're going to have to pay more people to do the same job.
You may be asking, Frit, why are you showing us this
clip?
I
get it.
What relevance does it have? Well, you see, I asked a few weeks ago, what's Jensen's answer to all the jobs that they're going to be costing people? And this was his answer. And I know it's all a fucking lie. Because NVIDIA is a company that is currently being investigated for stealing. So while he sits there lying through his teeth, making it seem like this is a virtuous thing NVIDIA's doing, they're going to be supplying people with careers. Behind the scenes, they're looking to give as little credit and take as much as possible. NVIDIA
that does not surprise me.
Contacted Anna's archive directly for access to 500 terabytes of pirated books and papers for pre-training their LLMs. Anna's warned them the collections were illegal and copyrighted. NVIDIA's data strategy team pushed anyway. Executives gave the green light within days per internal docs cited in the lawsuit. Yeah, that's right. Mega trillion-dollar NVIDIA
Ooh. They did the same thing Meta did. You know, like Meta downloaded terabytes of content and stuff like that, and then NVIDIA comes over here first don't fuck your bitch in the click you claim. In the worst way possible. Damn. I mean, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. Do you know what I mean by that? That's just kind of egregious. 500 terabytes, and imagine, the engineers say, yeah, let's go ahead and do this, and the executives are like, yeah, let's go and do this. This shouldn't be a problem. Nobody's gonna find this out. Learning IT infrastructure with my Homelab. I've set up AD and Authentic so far. Nice. Suggestions on where to go next. Have you done networking? Firewalls, VLANs, managed switches, things like that. I always recommend people start with base networking, because that is the foundational knowledge, whether you're in IT or cybersecurity, and even if you're in software engineering, knowing networking will help you solve so much in your career. You have Unify? Great. Like a reverse Amish. Just set up a DNS server for the first time with Pi-hole. Nice. I do PF blocker NG with Pi-hole lists. So I do IP blocking and DNS blocking. But yeah. NVIDIA. Yeah, NVIDIA. Knowing network equals always blame DS. Not true. Not true. So at the company I work for, we have evolved past always blame DNS to always blame Zscaler. I shit you not. We had an incident where something was not working with WebSockets. I'm not going to give too much out, but the WebSockets weren't working. There happened to be a change recently where we added exemptions in Zscaler's DLP policy. All we did was exempt Amazon Q from DLP. And they're like, well, we think this change is what caused, the WebSocket issue. And I'm like, buddy, are you riding the short bus today? Because there is no way in hell us exempting something from a DLP policy would somehow mean that you'd have a company-wide WebSockets issue. Like, seriously. Like, you don't have to be, like, a genius with networking to know, like, that's a DLP thing. Did it break WebSockets? No. Completely different layer, buddy. What's your role in cybersecurity or about trying to pivot to cloud DevSecOps? I'm a cybersecurity engineer, more platform engineering, but yeah, I'm trying to do DevSecOps and cloud and all that too. I have a job interview, second round this week that I might be getting more into that. I got 2 actually, so we'll see where that ends up.
Buying black market data from shadow libraries so that they could construct their AI models. So those AI models weren't even made with any of their own source data. This is insane. If this was something you or me did, we would be in fucking prison. NVIDIA does it and they're handed government checks. And at most given a little slap on the wrist. And
yeah, that's such bull.
Bad NVIDIA. Don't do that no more.
What game is that?
Back to making our supercomputers. That's right, piracy
is Papa was good for daily
wrong.
use. I'm
Piracy
trying to switch
is
from
immoral.
Windows.
It's evil until...
That's what I use. It's fine. I've used it for a few years.
Kick ass. I could save money now and everyone could eat. Get money in the daytime, even count it when I sleep. Wake up to getting bread, bitch. I do this for the streets. ADHD.
Sapphire Pilot 54 just subscribed.
Thank you for that sub there, buddy. Thank you. Man, the receipt printer's been going off the hook today. We've got like 3... No, wait. Did we get... I think we had like 2 or 3 today. There's another one. On here, that was from yesterday's. Was that? No, that was yesterday. Yeah, but anyway. Thank you all for the support. But yeah, I use Pop OS. It's been pretty great. I'm using Pop OS 2204. Not that I think 2404 is bad. It's that they just released it only a month ago. So I may as well go to 2604. And wait for that. That'll happen in like April, May. I got CompTIA A+, now about to apply to MSP companies. Am I on the right path? Yeah, totally. You know what? You want to know something funny? So I'm going to WGU. My next classes require me to go get my CompTIA. I've been in the field 15 years. I have a CISSP, and I now have to actually go get my CompTIA. Never had it before. CISSP was my first cert. That's going to be funny to explain. Why did you get your A+ after your after your CISSP? Because I had to get it for my bachelor's. Whatever. Need one of those receipt holders like at a line kitchen. Well, tell you what. You buy me one, I'll put it up. I'll see you at the DEF CON local. But yeah, I started out with MSP. I think MSPs are one of the greatest ways for people to get their foot in the door into tech. I always tell people help desk or MSP if given the option. MSP. Yeah, you will definitely be worked more at an MSP, but you will have your hand in so many different pies and wear so many different hats that you're going to get much more of a peripheral view of this entire field than just being at a help desk will be. It'll be great for you if you get an MSP job. I know that's where I got deep into networking, Active Directory, pulling wires, like everything. Yeah. Wearing hats sideways like Y2K. You know it, buddy. That printer off the chain. I just want to work on. Should I just put the fries in the bag, ATP? I mean, if you need a job, hey, look, I will never put down anyone that's earning an honest day's pay. CompTIAs have some really outdated questions usually. I suggest brushing up on a few ancient concepts. Trust me, I know about ancient concepts. I remember using SCSI disks. I actually know SAS stands for Serial Attached SCSI. CCNA certified plus help desk and network tech at HP. I'm unemployed like an MFer now. Ooh. Probably get hit hard by those layoffs. I'm sorry, buddy. I'll make sure not to forget the napkins and sweet and sour sauce. It's a tough market out there, I will be honest with you. It's not going to get better for a while. Unfortunately, you have the compounding effect of all the AI hype, and then the Trump uncertainty that's been caused upon the market. I'm not trying to be political here. I'm objective. He's caused a lot of uncertainty because 1 week he'll say tariffs on this, and then another he won't, and then businesses need consistency to plan out on, and that's been a problem. And then he's also increased the cost through tariffs and everything. Tariffs are not as beneficial as people say they are. We actually learned this in high school. Tariffs are actually, in part, what prolonged the Depression as long as it is. As long as it was. Appreciate your honesty. This is comforting in a weird way. Well, I'm glad that you're here, part of the community. And by the way, if you haven't already, check out all the other socials. Because I'm on, like, YouTube and Twitch and Kick and all the different platforms in case something happens to one of the other platforms. Because I know some weird things are happening with TikTok. Who knows? But actually, tacos sound really good right now for some reason. Yeah. Yeah, welcome to the lab.
$1 trillion company does it. Then it's okay,
join the Discord.
Right?
Links are in the bio for all that stuff if you're over on the TikTok side and all the others.
To destroy the world is made up of a bunch of data they stole. NVIDIA has been accused of offering to pay for high-speed access to Anna's archive, a notorious shadow library portal, bursting with copyright-infringing materials. Documents published by Torrent Freak appear to show the NVIDIA data strategy team reaching out regarding
and maybe a margarita on the rocks.
Access to Anna's archive. Moreover, if the documents are genuine, they indicate that Green Team management approved the payment plan within a week.
Wait, hold up. Let me, I might have...
Reaching out regarding payments for high-speed access to Anna's archive. Moreover, if the documents are genuine, they indicate that Green Team management approved the payment plan within a week.
So instead of paying, and they have billions of dollars to have bought all this content, instead of paying legitimately for the content to train their content, they paid a black market site, basically, to be able to have access to 500 terabytes worth of data for them to trade their AI and LLMs on. What? Yeah, NVIDIA, like other AI giants, is very interested in gaining access to the largest sources of human knowledge to improve LLM training quality. The likes of Meta and Anthropic have previously been found with their fingers all over the pirated content. Yeah.
NVIDIA, like other AI industry giants, is very interested in gaining access to the largest sources of human knowledge to improve LLM training quality. The likes of Meta and Anthropic...
Yeah, they are the richest company. That's what blows my mind. They literally have the cash to be able to do this all properly. And the executives are even green-lighting, allegedly, them pirating content. Look, I do not like that companies can get away with as much of the BS that they do. I don't necessarily agree with the death penalty towards humans. But I do agree that there should be a corporate form or version of the corporate death penalty. So that when companies do things that are completely illegal and like way off base, there should be punishments beyond just a fine. Like, you should be able to basically take the executives out, pull them out, blackball them from ever being an executive again, take a temporary control of the company, reassess everything, and then put the house in order. I think there's something like that when it comes to banks, more or less, where the Federal Reserve can come over and take over a bank. I could be mistaken here. In cases here, like I think it happened to like Silicon Valley, the bank that, you know, had a run on for all the startups and everything a few years ago. But yeah. Why do people keep getting NVIDIA when they do these kind of stuff? It's not that we like NVIDIA. It's that we have to use NVIDIA. Like, I have NVIDIA 5070 Ti over here, 5050. In my LLM box, I have a 5060 Ti and a 3050. It's that they purposely put CUDA everywhere for free in research centers. So everyone became hooked on CUDA. That's NVIDIA specific. Now, I hear there's rumblings that NVIDIA AMD may be finally able to do some CUDA stuff in there. That's neither here nor there for this conversation. So the problem is that for a lot of the stuff that we want to do, we need NVIDIA. Not that we want NVIDIA, we need NVIDIA. It's like it's like you go to that drug dealer and they give you a taste. Like, you know, the first one's always free. And then, like, a week later, you're coming back, like you seen like Sunny in Philadelphia, the episode when they get hooked on, you know, the stuff. But yeah, it is more or less a monopoly. It really is. They I think do like, what is it, like 60-70% of the entire GPU market. So yeah, it is a problem. But I don't really see myself digging at it. Like, the reason why I got an NVIDIA GPU even was for a while now, I hear they've changed this. I was thinking about going to DaVinci Resolve. Now, on Linux, they specifically said that you needed an NVIDIA GPU in order for it to work. And I remember my laptop that is a Ryzen 5700U, I tried installing DaVinci on it, and it just would not work. Now, some people have figured out ways around this. And that's why I stuck to NVIDIA on my systems. Now, I hear potentially that has changed. But even then, it's like NVENC is king for transcoding. You know, CUDA is pretty much a requirement in a lot of the best LLM and AI workflows. But yeah, it's a pain. If you are stealing content to train LLM, that LLM shouldn't be yours anymore. They should have an order that kills the project so that we can flood the market with secondhand parts, perhaps. No, I make the argument that it shouldn't be killed, you know, for that LLM, but rather that if that LLM is found to be trained on pirated content, said LLM should have to be open sourced. That's my argument. I wouldn't say destroy it because that is good research out there, but it should fall into the public domain. Yeah, actually, it shouldn't even be open. Well, it should be open source, not public domain, because public domain means somebody can take it up and then just lock it up behind another license with their own stuff. But if you put it in open source and then let's say like you keep it as like GPL v3 where it poisons anything that happens to be with a proprietary model, that'd be great. I'd settle for Mozilla Public License 2.0. But yeah. Anyway, continue.
Previously been found with their fingers all over pirated content. These super wealthy firms jealously guard their own technologies, so evidence that they seem to have little or no regard for the intellectual property of others would be a source of irony.
Yeah, because they're so protective of theirs, like with CUDA.
I'm not surprised about that, but to think that the ultra wealthy are being made wealthy stealing the work of others. Now that's not a surprise. How do you think Windows formed? How do you think Mac formed? How do you think Nintendo came up with Pokemon? Stealing the work of others. See, that's something
pretty much
you can't get away with because you're an average person like me. We're not rich enough to pay off and disregard any sort
put
of
them
rules.
on the black book.
We don't have a $1 trillion market cap. So if any of us did that, we would lose our homes, cars, families, and be jailed. But if you wanted more of a reason to hate what NVIDIA is doing, if you wanted fuel to add to that fire, here is that lovely info for you right here. This is all happening, and I have yet to see Jensen Huang address any of it. Torrent Freak notes that the email snippets it has shared have been precipitated during the discovery phase of an ongoing class action lawsuit.
Oh, damn!
Is accused of copyright infringement by training its models on content from the Books 3 dataset, including copyrighted works taken from pirate site Bibliothek. In that case, NVIDIA is defending its actions under quote-unquote fair use. But the new
I'm on the data strategy team for NVIDIA. We're exploring including Anna's archive and pre-training data for our LLMs. We are figuring out internally whether we are willing to accept the risk of using this data, but would like to speak with your team to get a better understanding of LLM-related work you have done. Oof. This is coming out of a court case. This isn't like some random dude giving it to the press. This is coming out in official court documents. Ugh.
Showing Anna's archive correspondence looks compelling. In fact, the authors behind the Books 3 class action have filed an amended complaint significantly expanding the scope of the lawsuits, says Torrent Freak. One of the most damning pieces of correspondence between NVIDIA reps and Anna's archive is shown above. The snippet appears to show an unnamed NVIDIA executive inquiring about the use of Anna's archive for LLM
training. Name and shame them.
Worse, though,
tar and feather them.
The new court filing, which alleges that within a week of contacting Anna's
metaphorically
archive,
speaking,
and days after being warned by Anna's archive of the illegal nature of their collections, NVIDIA management gave the green light to proceed with the piracy. The proposed deal would mean providing NVIDIA with high-speed access to 500 terabytes of data for LLM training. We don't see evidence that the deal actually went through or that any payments went to Anna's archive. NVIDIA is also accused of giving corporate customers automatic access to data.
You know why there's probably not proof? They have enough NVIDIA GPUs. What they probably did is they used that to mine Bitcoin, then convert that over to Monero and pay them in Monero. That's just my theory. Take it or leave it. 2 cents. Or 2 Bitcoins in this case. Moving on.
Such as the pile, which includes the Books 3 pirated collection. The authors behind the class action are looking for compensation for the damages they have suffered. Hundreds of other authors whose work is within the huge pirate library may later join the class action lawsuit. That's just gold. It's gold. Now it makes sense why Jensen Huang and the company are pushing for AI so hard. They financially need this to secure them in the market long term. Because they're going to have a litany of lawsuits. Who knows how much data they use to build their LLC isn't just outright stolen. Because if that's the case, there's going to
build their LLC. Do you mean LLM?
Dozens, possibly hundreds of sources. This is a class action lawsuit after all. Now keep in mind, this is far from the first, all right? Back in December 2025, there was a settlement between NVIDIA and a French automotive supplier, which alleged that a former employee stole confidential source code and shared it with NVIDIA to accelerate its parking assistance technology.
Oh, damn!
Per usual, NVIDIA denied using stolen data, stated they fired the employee upon learning of his allegations, and claimed they rolled back all work he had performed. But let's
yeah, I'll believe that when shit turned purple and tastes like rainbow sherbet.
Be real, this was all approved from higher ups, and the guy was thrown under the bus, as we're seeing.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Other lawsuit as an example. So right now, there is zero reason to be supporting this company. There's zero reason to be giving them money and buying their products if this is what they're doing. On top of the enormous damage that they are doing to gaming right now. It's getting so bad that corporate CEOs who placed all of their bets behind AI are now getting on their knees and begging you to eat the slop. As Satya Nadella came out to say that we must do something useful.
Could have been an LLC. Lots of companies will open a separate LLC to bankrupt. That's true too. So what did Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, say?
With AI, or they'll lose social permission to burn electricity on it. As he states, we will quickly lose even the social permission to take something like energy, which is a scarce resource, and use it to generate these tokens. If these tokens are not improving health outcomes, education outcomes, public sector efficiency.
He said the quiet part out loud.
All sectors, small and large, right? Said Nadella. And that, to me, is ultimately the goal. This is crazy. They want to run the world. This is why you...
This confirms, like, my view that I've had with Microsoft. They've basically just been taking AI, throwing it against the wall like spaghetti, and seeing what sticks. That's basically been their entire philosophy. Like, they're not even, like, being that, creative with the naming convention of things. Oh, you have Copilot in Office. Oh, you have Windows Copilot. Oh, you have Office Copilot. Oh, you have GitHub Copilot. You couldn't even call it a different thing? Like, do you know how confusing it is when I say, I'm using GitHub Copilot? And they're like, oh, Copilot sucks. Like, I don't like that they're using that. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm using GitHub Copilot with Claude. And, you have to explain to them, like, GitHub Copilot is different than Windows Copilot. The Windows Copilot, slop of, all of that, and, like, they're, like, trying to do recall and everything there. I keep saying the real revolution with AI is not this cloud-based, data center-driven bullshit that's wasting our water and electricity and, causing so many other issues. It's the local LLMs that we can run on our machines to do things differently. And not in the way of what Microsoft is thinking of doing, where they're just throwing it on your machine and hoping that you use it. That is like basically the epitome of someone who's completely run out of ideas and is completely desperate. And like I said, taking spaghetti in their hands, throwing it against the wall, seeing what sticks.
Can't put human survival or society.
I opened up Office and Copilot greeted me and I out loud said, fuck off. Yeah, I've done stuff like that too. I'm at the point where I will soon have my LLM, doing a lot of my stuff locally. I already was showing, my Quen model. If I can find it. Was it over here? No, okay. For those of you that came into the stream a little bit later, I run my own LLM machine locally. I have my own separate box with my own LLMs I can choose from. And you can see, like, I've been testing it out in different ways. When I go live on stream, I'm not processing it through Gemini or anything like that. I'm using Gemma 3. See, if your Quen greeted me in Office or Jump Cloud, I'd be happy. Yeah, fair enough. I'd love to tie that in. But, like, I can easily, use any of these LLMs in my machines. I can tie them in through an API. I'm doing all that processing locally. My moderation bot that I'll eventually have for Discord and Twitch and Kick and maybe YouTube, they'll be running on my local LLMs. And one has to have an idea to use AI. If you just use AI without knowing what to prompt, then you won't get anything useful out of it. Exactly. Like, going into my dev work over here. Here we are. This is my project. It's open source. You can find this as the Stream Daemon. This is the tool that I use to post when I'm live on streams from Twitch, Kick, and YouTube to Discord, Matrix, Mastodon, and Blue Sky. And you can see it's going into there. It's prompting it in different ways. Generate personalized messages using AI, Google or Llama. And then it's, these are different prompts it's doing. Tokenize username into parts that should not appear in hashtags. Handles various username formats, all that. And you can see there's different prompts. Extract hashtags. Check for things that contain forbidden words. So clickbait forbidden words. Oh, these are little comments actually in here. But you have to prompt it properly. So like you have forbidden words in here that it's injecting. Like it won't use insane, epic, crazy, smash, unmissable, incredible, amazing, lit, fire, legendary, mind-blowing, jaw-dropping, unbelievable. And then you validate, a generated message over here. So you check if a message is too similar from recent messages. This is all stuff that I'm having it do, and it's, going to prompt in different ways. These are just the criteria. So I even have a scoring system inside of there. So it will literally, I can actually show this to you. 192... I'm going to show you it going back and forth with itself to grade it. So you get an idea of when you're talking... I keep fat fingering. There we go. Hold the message. What did that do? I don't play AutoMod since it's just a filter. Well, that's why I'm also getting around, why I'm moving away from, you know, relying on regex, because that's basically doing regex. That's how most mod bots work. It doesn't understand nuance or context or check historical posts that people have done. It's basically just looking for predefined terms. Like, there's an argument where my buddy and I were talking about, you know, I'm bi, he's, you know, another bi dude, and, you know, we can call each other the F word. We know that, we're friends, you know? But if I were to say that into, you know, the Discord bot, it would, you know, have issues. But like you can see right now, so, you can see, it checks when I'm live. Okay, now it's live. Looks at the title. And then, you know, posts a request to the, LLM over here. You know, it generates stream start message, 222 characters. Generated message has one issue, too many emojis, max 1. So it tries it again with a stricter prompt. And then it's like, message is too similar to recent announcements. Trying with stricter prompt. Message still's too similar. So it keeps trying and going back and forth because of the prompts and the setup that I have in it. And then eventually it'll be like retry produced valid message using it. And it does the same thing for each platform. So it goes through and it does this process. Again, that's because I had an idea for it to do something in the way that I wanted it to do. And just thinking that everyone's going to use AI and it's going to be a success is completely invalid. That's why when people are like, well, you know, LLMs are going to kill software engineering is going to die in like 6 to 12 months. No, it will not. Maybe a lot of the minutia of, you know, coding and knowing if-then statements and like how to put that and type that out may lessen, but you're still going to have to know how to structure all of that stuff. Because do you think an LLM would have written all the code over here for all of this without my guidance? Hell no. I was the one that told it to make all the different unit tests. I'm the one that actually told it, hey, we're going to have a CI/CD for this to be checking different code quality and security issues. I'm the one that told it we're going to Dockerize it. I'm the one that told it we have to modularize it. I'm the one that told it how to structure all the different checks and things that it has in there. Like, I know all these people are like, well, I have an AI and I've gone to like Lovable to make it. And after a while, they say, I can't figure out how to do it any further. And they have to hire a software person to be able to extend it further because it can only do so much. The running joke by my father and myself and my brother-in-law is that whenever anyone else opens Siri, we should all F off Siri at the top of our lungs just to cancel out whatever the person is trying to ask. Yeah, I've done that. I actually disable Siri unless I'm pressing and holding the button, and my phone has to be open. F is for fire that burns down the whole town. F is for friends who do stuff together. It's for the ultimate the one that South Park classified as an extremely annoying person, i.e. an obnoxious Harley Davidson rider. I've used that word myself, though not as a disparaging term against myself. Yeah. You know, like, I've definitely, you know, used that term, not in a disparaging sense, but I've definitely referred to people in jest as a bundle of sticks, shall we say. In the same way that I've called people a Richard, both in the full name and in the nickname.
In the hands of corporations. Like, they're trying to extract the profit from AI, and they're trying to find every single way to do it. They want it in your education. They want it in your health. They want it in your public sector. They want it to run the world. But I say, suffer! Suffer, CEOs! I want you to keep losing money. You placed your bets.
I keep saying that the executives are some of the most replaceable with AI. They are.
Come back to bite you in the ass because of everything you're doing to the everyday man who needs hardware and technology. You're making it unobtainable and unaffordable for gamers, for programmers, for musicians, for artists. Computer hardware is a necessity and is used for far more than AI. Now,
Yep.
he says we have to quickly find use of AI. You know what I think you should do? I think you need to learn how to make Windows 11 useful. That's what you need to do, Satya. I mean, the latest Windows 11 update apparently has been causing performance problems on NVIDIA GPUs. Like, you two are a match made in heaven.
Really?
These two are gonna fuck.
Well, I use Linux, so this isn't a problem for me.
Together. I mean, we're talking about a company that would love.
Sounds like an issue, not an ish
and a hardware
me.
company that would love for you to just stream their GPUs instead of actually own them. You're both awful, kids. Okay. You deserve everything coming your way, especially NVIDIA, who I hope gets their ass handed to them with that lawsuit. It's unbelievable, but not really. I have no trouble.
I hope they don't settle that lawsuit. I really hope.
A bunch of stolen information to propel them in the industry. That's commonplace. Thievery amongst billionaires is very, very common. There's
a reason why EVGA dropped out of making the best graphics cards.
Because again, your social points aren't high enough. Your market cap is lower than your self-esteem. So you can't get away with it. But NVIDIA can, I guess. It gets worse. So here we have Anthropic CEO saying this.
Anthropic makes Claude.
In terms of, the models that write code, I have engineers within Anthropic who say, I don't write any code anymore. I just let the model write the code. I edit it. I do the things around it. I don't know, we might be 6 to 12 months away from when the model is doing most, maybe all of what SWEs do end to end. And then it's a question of how fast does that loop close?
Does that sound like job security to anybody?
This sounds like a guy that is so out of touch with what software engineers do. Again, I'm using Claude to do all this shit. Okay? Yes, is it writing a bunch of code? Yeah, but I keep finding issues and I keep having to do edits and I keep having to, tell it, hey, we're going to have to do it this way and we still have these vulnerabilities. Like a lot of my commits, if you go looking into them, are me fixing software vulnerabilities. If it makes me a terrible person to hope that the AI bubble pops sooner, well, why would I be concerned with others viewing me that way when I admit that I don't see myself as the hero in my own story? Look, I totally am happy with the AI bubble popping sooner. But like I've been saying, I'm not anti-AI. I'm anti-AI in the way that it exists in the software as a service method they're doing. I think the way that we should all be going is more in the local LLM and not in the bullshit Microsoft way. I'm talking open source, locally hosted LLMs that we can use to, better a lot of our productivity. There is ways that it is beneficial. But the way that, Anthropic, that CEO is talking about, that Jensen Huang is wanting it to go about, that Sam Altman is trying to go about, that Satya Nadella is trying to go about, is a completely out-of-touch perspective. That is what happens when you become so successful that you're so far above here that you forget what the ground even looks like. Were you live, Chief, yesterday? Because it didn't show up in my notification. I was not live on TikTok. TikTok was having an outage. They were still recovering from the outage, which is why I tell y'all, follow me on all of my other platforms. I'm not just on TikTok. I'm on Twitch. I'm on Kick. I'm on YouTube. And then I have a Discord, and then I have a Matrix. And for the reliable notifications of when I'm live, Discord and Matrix, and Blue Sky and Mastodon. I will always reliably post there because I built my own bot to actually do that for me. Heh.
Will now be 100% automated in about, how long? He said 6 months? So if you see a massive layoff happen across the tech industry, you're gonna know why. They're updating that AI model to put your ass on the street. And NVIDIA wants to come out and act like, oh no, we're going to create jobs. Think of all the electricians. Think of all the plumbers. What about the 5,000 plus people you're about to let go of in order to only keep about 50 people on board? They're going to start leaving the coding in the hands of AI, which means you should expect to see a lot, and I mean a lot of influential game developers take a massive hit from this. People who have busted their asses off making digital art known as video games. This is going to be a lethal blow. I mean, I just don't see the industry recovering from this for quite some time. And
I'd
these
agree with
guys
that.
tell it to you with this enthusiasm, this joy on their face. Like, isn't that cool? Isn't that neat? You know, bro, that would be neat if it wouldn't result in the chaos that's about to ensue. Oh, right, the chaos. Sorry, we don't feel that. We have our billionaire bunkers. Don't know what to tell you. Well,
basically what it comes down to is it's boo-foo. Do y'all in chat know what boo-foo is? If y'all haven't seen the movie How High, chat, you know what boo-foo is, right? That's a term we gotta bring back. That's a term my generation grew up with. We knew from Method and Red. We've had a good form of AI since, when did the game Blackout come out again? I know it was for the PCS2, OG Xbox. That game had a form of artificial intelligence that if you kept doing things the same way, the enemies would start preparing against your tactics. Huh, interesting. I was at an event that banned smoking by fining smokers $250. One of the other attendees told me, so smoking is permissible if you have money to waste. Fair enough. Like if you focus on getting cheeky headshots, the enemies would start wearing head armor. Interesting. So Boo-Foo was a funny joke that was in How High, but it's so true. It was making fun of FUBU. FUBU was like, you know, this clothing line that everyone basically wore back in the day. You were popular, all that. It's not as popular nowadays. Well, Boo-Foo was by us, fuck you. And that is exactly what they're doing. They don't give a F about you. It's Boo-Foo all the way down. If the only penalty for doing a thing is a fine, then it's only against rules against the poor. Yep.
You can see AI has been completely unprofitable for any of these people investing in it. That includes NVIDIA. They're not making money off AI necessarily.
They're making money off of selling the shovels, the hardware.
And other companies who are pursuing that technology.
They still make decent stuff, you just don't see them anymore.
As a result, people have to turn to DDR4 and 3 memory now. And NVIDIA wants to discontinue lower entry cards, even having to go...
I still only have one machine that has DDR5 in my whole house, and that is the newest laptop that I have, which is like right here. My Tuxedo Computing with the Ryzen 9 88 or 9 Ryzen 7 and 80 Ryzen 9 8845 HX. This is the only machine I have that has DDR5 memory. My brand new firewall still DDR4. My old firewall DDR4. My workstation over DDR4.
Back to older models just to meet the demands of gamers who they claim they're eating a loss for right now, but we all know that's complete bullshit. Because when the government checks run out, when companies see that there is no money to be made in AI, or they finally get a model that they're satisfied with and don't need NVIDIA anymore, what are they going to do? Come back to the gamers.
I wonder what my 5070 Ti goes for.
We have a new GPU. Dangle it right above your heads, but always keep in mind, every dime NVIDIA makes goes to something. Like stealing other people's work and information, raising the prices on consumers, pulling necessary products away from you, favoring corporations. NVIDIA has caused more damage to the tech industry than any other company.
Yeah.
And I hope they lose this lawsuit. I know that they're panicking. I know Jensen Huang is counting down his remaining days until that bubble bursts and NVIDIA is no longer a necessary company. And if you love watching them suffer, if you love knowing all of this, if it brings you a smile to your face, then like, comment, share, and subscribe if you so choose to.
Holy shit!
120.
Holy shit! This is the exact GPU I have. Do you know how much I bought my GPU for? I bought this maybe a month ago for $820 at Micro Center. Micro Center doesn't even have it in stock. The 5070 Ti. This is the Gigabyte Eagle OC edition. Okay? Wait, this isn't even the OC. Anyway, no, this is the OC. $1,300 for this. $1,300 for this GPU. I paid $820 for it in December. It's gone up 50% roughly. Okay, now out of curiosity, and TikTok just died again. TikTok is having issues. We'll finish this video up, though. Out of curiosity, NVIDIA 5060 Ti Gigabyte. Okay, out of curiosity, what is the cost of this? Okay, so it's still $550 at Micro Center. I'm just curious, does Newegg have it? Jesus Christ! That's the 8 gigabyte version. I have the 16. What does that cost? What the hell? Why is the 16 gigabyte cheaper than the 8 gigabyte? That must be because it's out of stock and they haven't, you know, re-upped this stuff. But, like, if that's $736 right now for the 8 gigabyte version, the 16 gigabyte's got to be worth a lot more right now. This is getting insane.
4,000. With that being said, piss off, NVIDIA, and I'll see you in the next video.
Damn. Holy crap. I can't believe that my GPU... Computer parts should not be appreciating. Like, the silver coins? Okay, that makes sense. It's appreciated. It still blows my mind that this shit's $100 an ounce now. A little over $100. I literally have these 2 coins here just for me to have as a fidget toy. I got them originally when they're like 15, 20 bucks a piece. My graphics card, $820, which was already expensive to begin with, is now $1,300? And that ain't a 5080. That's a 5070 Ti, which is more than enough for what I needed. I'd like to get a 5080, but the cost, you know, for a 5080 was not even worth it. Yeah, now I have $200 fidget toys. Exactly. God damn. This is not sustainable. This is really not sustainable in the long run. It really isn't. God damn. My fee to Sharon is now a first-class fee. Yeah. It's insane. But anyway, it's getting a little late, guys. Thank you all for joining me. Make sure, if you haven't already, follow me on all of my socials and join the Discord and the Matrix server. I am on, I'm live on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and TikTok. I am making videos on YouTube primarily, which then get clipped to TikTok. So sorry, TikTok, y'all are second-class citizens now. So if you want the good stuff, follow me on all the other socials, and make sure to join the Discord and the Matrix server. We have a great community over there. It's growing all the time. Lots of, you know, tech people from your hobbyist all the way up to your professional. Great place to learn, great place to grow. Plus, you can get notified for all the times when I'm live by opting in to the roles that will notify you for the platform that you want to watch on. But, yeah. Thank you all for joining me. I love all of you. Stay safe. And as always, happy hacking. And if you're on Twitch, stick around for the raid. Otherwise, the next planned stream is Wednesday. I may stream tomorrow. That's a big maybe. I got to get a couple of streams in sooner or later because we got some more videos to go through and watch. But love you all. Stay safe. Happy hacking.